disappointment. Now the vice president often tell me, since he got a seat as vice president, how many persons have I recommended in this government to serve in the government as presidential appointee? 0. Every appointment in Nima County was done by him. He and I would discuss something as a brother. To implement it, you will bypass me and do different things. I don't talk only.
Now you need to deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrates us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to be? You see, we just tell you. That's why we voted you. But you fool us. You screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask.
The good person in our whole United Party, that President Baka. You want to say that again? The only person that appreciate good among all the United Party for that President Baka. The rest are ungrateful. The right, they use you and dumb you. But President Baka, if all of them were taking the President Baka and behaving the President Baka, United Party will have another chance in 2029. Just for now, they do not regard people that help them. I'm not.
3 of our soldiers were executed on this party ground. 2 at the back and 1 right at the headquarters. The man who shot and killed our people today is a Dahn boy in the Liberia National Police. They brought him back to shoot more guns. Get ready to shoot. Because we challenge the status quo appropriately.
Inform them the violence suspect any student that because of their action, it will be the day the entire Garguah administration will cut down. We will massively violate the students in this country and will shut down the Garguah administration. The day that happens, we have the capability to do so. And if they think this renovation project is a joke, let them try. The fall of the Garguah administration begin with this. If they think they will tumble on any student in this country or at the university like going and work away in infinity, while our children saving opponents and logic in the Western world, while we are subjected to agile power and bad learning conditions here, and the thing will say.
In the first 100 days, no car will get stuck on the major road in this country. And I mean it.
You say it out loud?
It's going down. First floor. There you have it.
That led to decades of war still run deep. But so too does the longing for reconciliation. A reconciliation defined not by political bargaining or by an artificial balance of power by tribe, region, religion, or ethnicity, but by the equality of opportunity and a better future for all Liberians.
Boga can lie, the government, all the ministers in the government, they can lie. They don't put all hustle, they put a hustle, they lie. Everything they say, they never say the truth.
Today, the supporters of His Excellency Joseph Boakai presents him as a poor man from Lofa and assert that he will understand the plight of the poor people. Fellow Liberians, do not.
Folks, a pleasant good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on your location where you're following us from. We want to say welcome. This is the closing argument on this Friday edition of the show. We want to say welcome. My name is Anthony Dahn, and folks, it's always good to be here, and we'll come back on the show to discuss relatively pressing national issues, pressing and concerning national conversations that are hampering the sorry for the feedback, but like I said, we come on to discuss issues that have paramount concerns issues that are relevant to Liberia's growth and development, and this is the platform. My name is Anthony, and shortly I'll be breaking on Mr. Jerome Gayman and John Kim, Freedom FM, and Mr. Gayman, who is also the moderator for tonight's discussion. Mr. Gayman is here, just as junkies. More also here from Freedom FM 87.9. This show is being relayed on other frequencies across the country, including Kia Radio, Baisu Radio, DTD Radio there in Sino County, and other platforms across the country. And it's also being simulcasted on Truth Lens television and other televisions across Facebook and YouTube. Mr. Gayman.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Tony. I am here with the original rebel from Peabody. You see, when he's wearing that hat, he's ready to rock and roll. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Friday edition of The Closing Argument. Today, we are privileged to have with us Honorable Simeon Freeman, one of the aspiring gentlemen, fine gentlemen, that wants to lead the Republic of Liberia comes 2029. His major argument has always been, if he has not run anything, has not managed anything, have not risked anything, most likely he or she cannot run the nation. He said, I'm a man who came from the bottom to the top. I raised myself by my own bootstrap. I open businesses. I run businesses. I hire and fire. I have risked losing it all. I know what it takes to run an institution. I can run the country. So today he will be our guest. No holds bar. He is tough. He is brilliant. He's willing and ready to take calls. Anything that has to do with public policy. So we are going to be grilling him today in a very professional way on his foreign policy, his economic policy, his education policy, his healthcare policy, and most of all, employment, the economy. What is he going to do for young people like Anthony and junkies and the rest of the guys who have new families? How do they support the families? How can he rescue us from the dungeon where some people in Liberia are working and bringing home $88 a month? How can a police officer that put his life on the line to give us security brings home $110 a month? How can a teacher that is curating the future of our children be considered volunteer teacher for years, year in and year out? And those who are on government payroll make little or nothing. Yet, our generator, some people generator make $3,000 a month. Our government officials, legislators, beyond all the perks they get, they are getting $1,800 to $2,000 a month housing allowance while they live in their own homes. It is a law that they get cars every 3 years. So if you were lucky to end your term, even one term, you are walking away with 2 cars, while your constituents sleep in darkness. No water, no electricity, no roads, no health care, no education. What a country. Sometimes you wonder, why would somebody want to take on a job that is so daunting? So Honorable Simeon Freeman is going to be here today to tell us why he wants to take on the dirtiest job in the Republic of Liberia. Let me welcome Junkies Morris from our partners, Freedom FM 87.9. He's in the house. A young man born and raised way behind God's back. They call it Peabody. The city of Peabody in Maryland County. Welcome, junkies. Welcome, welcome. And please identify yourself and your station. Freedom FM needs to
Junkies, you're muted. You're muted.
Junkie, you talking to yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I said, welcome to the both of you, Honorable Gayman and Anthony. Welcome to our many followers here in Liberia, in diaspora, and those that are following us on our various social media platforms, The Closing Argument, our YouTube channel and Facebook, and even our Freedom Online Radio and Freedom FM 87.9 Facebook platform. Welcome. This is The Closing Argument, and we are live here on Freedom FM 87.9. Like Honorable Gayman said, my name is Junkies Morris, and today is Friday, so we will have 1 hour here with Freedom FM.
Wow. That means we got to talk fast, and do it. We got
sure. It's important.
Yes. So we have here, I think Honorable Freeman is from Grand Bassa. I can see it. But the first person that told me was from the post city of Buchanan, Hawking Jabate. So I'm watching you live from the post city of Buchanan. Then we got Alex D.S. Queer. He said, good evening. I'm following you live from Zwedru City, Grand Julia County. And we got Ezekiel Dolobe. He says, I'm following from Barnesville. Kevin in District 11. Then we have Juicy D. Okay, Juicy D, I don't know where you call him from, but you got to identify yourself, Juicy D. Mapu Dawson, the indomitable Mapu Dawson. Liberia is not balanced. They want to come with fire today. And my right-hand man, Emmanuel Yasson. Good evening, guys. I'm following from Yegepa, Nima County. This is a guy who said he was born in Bentall. So that's civilized man. Now he in Nima County. Thank you for tuning in, man. David Gifford, good afternoon, Freedom, and the brilliant people of Lofa County. I am pretty seated and listening. From Mount Barkley, CDC is a religion. Mr. Developmental, yeah, is coming back. Okay. They are putting us on notice. Anthony, the gentleman says CDC is a religion. So here we are. I don't know who they worship and who they believe in, but that's a new religion. I know we got Christianity, we have Islam, and now we got CDC as a religion. Vasco da Gama Jabate. Come on, you're putting Jabate back there. Vasco. Say good evening. I'm following live from Carwell, New Georgia. Abraham Addison. Greetings from Freedom Family. I'm watching live from my comfort zone. I don't know where that comfort zone is. Hopefully you are safe and sound. And Wally T. City. 2029 for we are. People for our religion, they are tuning in. Pa G. Jala Jr., good evening, guys. I am following from the nation's capital. Okay. There you go. The religion is booming. And where do they worship? I would like to, when I come to Liberia, I would like to go check that religion out. David Gifford said we should share the platform. Obviously, guys, do us a favor, share the show. Let us know that Honorable Freeman is going to be here. And we have under 1 hour with Freedom FM. So we're going to talk fast. Flex Electronics 4769. The voice behind the headline reporting live from the Sunshine State. Absolutely. If you are in America and you are not in the Sunshine State, you're not in America, man. You're just living. You are surviving. But you want to live, you got to come to Florida. You have to come to Florida. If you have not visited Florida, you have not visited America. I'm telling you right now. So don't go sit down over there and be in Minnesota somewhere. Oh, I'm sorry about people from Minnesota. I got nothing against you. You know, the Basel men love to talk a lot. But yes, guys, let's talk. Andrew, Agape, Gaudet. You see that? You see it? Good evening, Freedom Family watching from Beverly Hills Hotels, Africa. Ha ha. See, they come up with that onion. Beverly Hills Hotel, Africa. I love that. Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills. Andrew, you okay? I don't care what they say about you. You all right because God is there. God there. God minding you. Dordet Daniel, watching at work, Louisiana State University, LSU. Okay. He's in Baton Rouge, LSU. I got mine. Got one of my goddaughters that go into school. Celie's in, what is it? Celie Arsenal. Okay. You know, that's the Arsenal fan, you know, they're all over the place. Comey's only pathway to the presidency is through the CDC as VP now, and we can elevate him after anything short of that. He will be kind of neck Tipotech. Oh, you see how other people can, you see how you behave over there? We're not on your CDC team today. Our guest here today is Honorable Simeon Freeman. I think he got his own religion too. We'll talk about his own religion. The closing argument, that's who we are. Please subscribe, like, follow, send in your comments, send in some great photos. And today is a special day in your life. Let us know, put it in the comment section. If it is your birthday, if you are celebrating your birthday or anniversary or special day, let us know so we can send a shout out. In the meantime, let us know what's on your mind. I would like to hear my folks from Grand Bassa County, Lower Buchanan. If you are in Buchanan, I want you, ladies and gentlemen, our guest is in the house. Let me welcome Honorable Freeman. I wanted to recuse myself because I've been getting tons of stuff in my mailbox that you are from Bassa and I shouldn't host this show. I'm going to be biased. I'm going to, what said you should I recuse myself? Would I be biased? Have you ever met me before?
No, I have not. But if you're from Bassa, that's good. I want to hear about you.
You see, Abraham Touare, you are a Freetown man. You related to Joseph Boakai. All of your came from Freetown. And I told Trump about you. He said he will say you about to 70. Welcome to the show, Amy.
Well, go. What's the empire got Dahn? I'm on one South African war.
Thank you very much, guys. Honorable Freeman with me is Anthony. Anthony, I think are you from Nima or Lofa? So we can be balanced here.
No, I'm from Nimba County. I'm from Nimba.
Okay, so Nima is in the house. Junkies, where are you from?
I'm from Maryland. I'm from Peabody Southern District.
There you go. You see?
Cinqua people.
I want you see that now you see, Anthony, you're the one that always made the people put in trouble. They say all your Southeast people, Bassa, your Kwa people, they just put all of us in the Southeast, and it seems like it's a one county, right? They say the Southeast people like one county, that's 7 to 8 counties together, but they say Southeast like from one county. Honorable Freeman is
because we actually from the Kwa tribe, so Crown, Sapo, Crew, Bassa, Gribble, they're all from the Kwa tribe, and apparently that's why they just say Southeast.
Yeah, they just anything from. When I say from Bassa or from Riverside, those Southeast people. But anyhow, thank you very much for honoring our invitation to come on here. In my intro, I just said it. The dirtiest job in Liberia is being president of the Republic of Liberia. Why would somebody want to take the job that is so difficult? We are 204 years this year, from 1822 to 2026. We are 204 years, and you cannot justify what have we done in the past 204 years, but yet you want to take on that job. Well, who is Simeon Freeman? For those who have never met you, who is Simeon Freeman?
So you call him Simeon Freeman. I'm a 7-day Adventist, and I have a master's. and I went to Colorado Technical University. I also school at LTF. Yeah, and I'm married, and I have a family. That's who Senior Firma is. I'm also a businessman.
Talk about how many boys and girls you have, man, so we can.
So I've got 2 girls and 1 boy. 3.
Oh, okay. See, so he's the girl's daddy. I got 3 girls and 1 boy. He got two girls and 1 boy. So we God mighty us. Today we are going to be talking about some of the things that you envisioned our country being. We want to talk foreign policy, health policy, the economy. I have followed you when I was in Buchanan. I listened to one of your speeches. You said, for those who have never managed anything, who have never run anything, it is almost impossible to gauge what their successes or failures are because they have never managed and they have never taken risk. Those are things that you have done. You have managed business, you have taken risk, and you have succeeded. So that makes you the right man for the job. How then our people keep picking the wrong folks?
Well, I think 2 factors. The first thing has to do with, let's look at the basics. Somebody asked the other day, say, how come America ended up with 2 options between Biden and Trump? There are other candidates in America that will probably do a better job. But those are the options that avail themselves. It's the same for Liberia. Democracy is such that you have to mobilize the teams and you have to convince the right people that will then go out to convince the rest of the people. And so if you struggle with that formula, ultimately the outcome will not be favorable. So we hold ourselves responsible. Maybe in many respects, we have not been able to convince the right people that will then go out and convince the rest of the people. And I think we're trying to get that formula right. And that's why every time we fail, we learn lessons and we move forward. So I think this time around, we are very clear in terms of our strategies. We engage in the right segments of the community. And I think if we can adequately communicate our vision to those people that would then take us to the rest of the people, I think 2029 we get a totally different outcome. But it's a terrible thing to fail and then blame the people that did not make us president. They carry some responsibility too, but I think it's important that we reach out to them and convince them. And I think we need to be strong. We cannot wait for the 3 months or 6 months of the elections, prior to elections, and believe that we could, in many respects, create or influence outcome. And I think it's important that we do it now. That's why, in many respects, we're trying to form the right teams and go out to convince the people. Importantly, being president of Liberia is not a very difficult job. It's always about perception. I think being president is an amazing opportunity. A couple of years ago in Liberia, we only had the Liberia Telecommunications Corporation. The only phone lines that was in Monrovia was the house telephone. You could either dial it around or you could press the button. First it was the dialer, and then later on the button came and you could just press the button and the numbers begin with 22 and onward and so forth. And then a group of people from around the world saw an opportunity. Telecommunications is a big business. So even though at the time when we had telecom, we kept borrowing millions and millions of dollars and telecom never really worked. Today, some of the biggest income earners are the mobile phone companies. Some of the biggest taxpayers are the mobile phone companies. Between these companies, they make about $300 million every year. Something telecom was never able to make, $300 to $400 million. I'm saying this to say the work of the president of Liberia is actually an opportunity. If you look at Liberia, we haven't really given it a thought. Let's go back to the foundation of our country. Liberia was founded by two civilizations. You had the local people and you had the American Liberians that we call the Congo people that came to Liberia. And what happened? Even among the Congo people, you had two groups. You had the Black Congo and the Bright Congo. The Black Congo stay in places like you are from Bassa, so you see Hartford, Folesville, and what have you. On the Monrovia Belt, in the Monserrato side, you have Royalsville, Clay Ashland, Bromley, and all of those places. The Black Congo people move up country. Now, the Bright Congo people predominantly stayed in Monrovia. There were a few, one or two Bright Congo people that weren't very successful, and so they also moved up country. So even among the Congo people or American Liberian, there was division and segregation. And the reality is they were after the concept of self-preservation. So they wanted to ensure that they set up a system and structure that enable perpetuation of their leadership over a period of time. That led to the formation of a government that basically did not really provide services for the rest of the people. If you remember, there is this old saying, do not forget the pioneers' children. That was a statement they coined at the time so that opportunities were given to them. After this show, I will share with you guys some footnotes were written by a Dutch guy that wrote this stuff on Liberia called the open door policy. And this history started from as far back as he wrote from as far back as the 1820s up to the 1900s. It's such an important note I'll share with you guys. And there you will see that as the budget of the government of Liberia grew from 7 million to 10 million, from 10 million to 25 million to 50 million, so also the size of our government grew. So we did not grow the size of our bureaucracy because there was a need. We grew it because it was an accommodation infrastructure. Those days, the only job that was available was, or you were seen to be working or doing a job when you work in government. Those days, we used to call it, now Lebanese, we used to call them Syrian people. So the Syrian people ran the stores, and then the rest of the working population or so-called Congo people basically work in government. That was the system that existed at the time. Later on, in the later years, they started to give opportunities to themselves. So, for example, you remember the Mims supermarket. It was the biggest Liberian-owned supermarket those days in Sinka, right where you have this place, I think it's on 10th Street or 12th Street or somewhere there. No, not 12th Street, one of those streets. I think it's 15 or so. It's opposite the GT Bank. You have the Mims supermarket. Then you had the also on Camp Johnson Road. And then you had the Monserrato group. You had one old man, he was old man Talker. He was the former public works minister. He was one of the biggest rice importers. In later years, they ventured into trade. I will show you a chart that will show you a whole data of ministers of government that had equity in insurance, in logging companies across this country, like the Padmo and a whole lot of them. I will share that with you guys so you can see and discuss that on your show, in subsequent show. So in a nutshell, government all along in Liberia has been about those who are in the government and not those that are outside the government. So when you are part of the government, then you benefit from development. So ultimately, people that work for government, ministers, deputy ministers, whatever, assistant minister, they seem to have a life. They seem to have this affluence. If you are outside the government, then you just become part of the plan that's never really realized. So Liberia have always been like that. Then what happened? Then we had Samuel Doe. Samuel Doe came to power, and he didn't know much about governance. And what happened? You notice there became a rift in the Doe government. A rift arose in the Doe government. And that rift was because the Crown tribe was the new Congo people, because you had to be in government to benefit from governance. And so there was all this rift between the other tribes and then the crown people because they had the presidency at the top that became more dominant and more assertive. And that culminated into the crisis of the 1990s. So Liberia have always had this governance structure that does not benefit the people. If you take a current look at the 2026 budget, you will see we claim to be collecting $1.2 billion. But where is that money coming from? A lot of the money is coming from the port. Cost of everything in Liberia is very expensive. We're making so much money from the port through import. We're not really manufacturing much. Our base is low. And most of that money is spent on the preservation of a bureaucracy. Unfortunately, we have a president who believes in this large bureaucracy. He keeps creating new institutions. He has this whole listing of public officials that he's created, and they have to be funded. So significantly, we're still celebrating the wrong things. The other day in Bassa, the superintendent took, some people say 300,000, some people say $1 million to build a superintendent compound, to build whatever else. Those are all, I mean, how does a superintendent compound add value to the lives of the people in Bassa? They're still living in poverty. They are unemployed. Think about if we had spent $1 million on the business community and say, this money will be available for you to have access to credit and for you to add value to your business. The interest rate is going to be, say, 5%, and you can pay back over a 5 years period. You're going to have probably a 6 month moratorium. You would have created significant wealth. So governance in our country is about those who are within. Why do Simeon Fremont want to be president? I want to be president to change that. I want to reduce this size of government by about 40% the moment you make me president. Now, the argument has been, if you did that, there would be unemployment. And I said, no, that's what we call social economics. What do? You keep that workforce on the payroll, so the ministry or the institution will exist, because of course you need legislative action to be able to dissolve a ministry. So you keep it on the payroll, and it was done before under the Madam Seleke tenure. You keep the people on the payroll, so nothing's going to happen at that ministry. We now set up training centers where we convert those public servants into private sector consumables, and then we pump the money into the creation of a private sector. It is going to change the outlook of governance. It's going to, for the first time, make collected revenue work for the people of Liberia, and then we can now have Liberians controlling the economy. We can use that envelope to change things around. You probably are in America, Mr. Gayman. You are in America, right? Oh, you're muted.
I'm in Florida. Yes.
Excellent. So you probably heard about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So the whole concept behind Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac is that the government of the United States realized that, look, instead of waiting for the private sector to develop a housing infrastructure, let's invest public resources into creating a housing infrastructure. So for a long time, that operated until capacity, financial bandwidth was developed in the private sector to be able to finance housing. Our answer to that was the National Housing and Savings Bank. Who broke it down? Public officials broke it down. They took the money, they never paid. Our answer was National Housing Authority. National Housing Authority became a political infrastructure because people that were beneficiaries of the housing arrangement were connected to high power government officials, and when they didn't honor their obligations, telephone calls will be placed and that whole thing will be silenced. So we want to make sure if you set up similar thing like Mr. Gayman support me, you take 10 Mr. Gayman, set up a Gayman Incorporator, we'll pump the first 5 million into you for you to build housing units that people can then occupy. How are they going to own it? When you spend 5 million and build it, you're going to sell it to the bank. Credit will be given by the bank. It means if you work for government, if the bank approve a credit for you to own that house, nobody can call the bank, because if you don't pay for any reason, the bank is going to take that. Secondly, the probability of you not paying will be slim because government will be paying your salary through the bank. So if we say, look, through a mortgage system, you're going to pay $50 a month over the next 20 years to own it, the bank is going to be giving you that credit. All of these problems we have are actually opportunities. What's about our manufacturing sector? It can be created. We can pump money into it. Does it make sense that over the last couple of years, Liberia have been one of the largest iron ore exporters? But unfortunately, we don't have a smelter. It'll probably cost us about $50 million to set up a smelter. We don't have the money, but we can actually do a PPP, a private public sector partnership, or the government of Liberia can raise $50 million and it can give it to a private company, which would be Liberian owned, and we can create a smelter. All these things are possibilities. So I see the problems of Liberia as an opportunity from a businessman perspective, and we think we can change that. That's why we want to be president. So it's just a gist to give you an opportunity to engage me more clearly.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, share the show. You saw and heard and listened to a lecture. This is a nutshell of the economy, how businesses are run, how you can tie that into private-public partnership. And he gave you several examples as to how, not just when and where, how it is done, who has done it, how it will be done. So share the show. Let us know what's on your mind. We got about 30 minutes here to be with our friend from Freedom FM. So in about 10 minutes, we are going to open the line for our folks from Freedom FM before we go off the line. Then we will switch to exclusively to Truth FM. But what everybody texted me here is what you said about Joseph Boakai, President Joseph Boakai's major accomplishments in the economy. Hopefully, I'm saying this right. You said Joseph Boakai's economic accomplishment, basically, is the $370 million drug import. Am I quoting you right? Did you say that, and why so?
Yeah. Look. You know, when you look at capital flows to Liberia, it's nothing to write home about. Liberia has never been a great place to attract foreign capital in the manufacturing sector, in the real productive sector. We've attracted foreign capital in areas like the extractive industry, mining, and what have you. Boakai has no real proven record of attracting resources to this country. Of course, what has happened is that he's attracted lots of drugs to this country. You see, like I've been arguing, it's one thing to arrest drug at the airport or at the port of entry, and it's another thing to arrest drug from warehouses within the country, where clearly some of your key security personnel are alleged to be associated with such movements. And Boakai himself is guilty of taking pictures with some of the guys alleged to be drug kingpins. Now, like we said, instead of speaking and talking plenty that he's ready to cleanse the place, there are lots of people associated with the $19 million worth of drug. Why have we not leveraged a lot of effort in getting those people? Who are those people that made the president take pictures with people alleged to be drug peddlers? Have those people been identified? Has he fired them? So just speaking plenty and talking plenty and doing very little, that's not what we want. And in terms of resource attraction, yes, he's attracted drug worth almost a street value of more than $500 million. That's what he succeeded in doing. We don't see President Boakai actually having the magnetism to attract anybody. Boakai is not a convincing orator anyway. And secondly, for businesses to be attracted, they need to talk to other businesses. You notice when President Trump went to China, you saw when he went to Turkey, even for the NATO summit, but his Chinese trip, who were the people on that trip? You saw Musk, you saw Jensen Huang, you saw all of the major actors in the AR space, in the technology manufacturing space, traveling with the president on government expense. When Boakai is traveling, he doesn't take business people. They take all of their same old government officials. Do you think a minister of commerce will convince one businessman in one country to come and invest? Obviously not. It is business people that will talk to other business people. Secondly, our investment laws are not very favorable. The channels and conditionalities are quite stringent, and it makes it difficult. I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, this small country in South America called Costa Rica. Costa Rica wanted to attract American pharmaceutical manufacturers. You know what they did? They came out with a strict clear-cut investment law. Come to Costa Rica. Once you come and register your business and set up your factory, the government of Costa Rica will pay your employees for the first 6 months, because obviously they know the employees, the people in Costa Rica have absolutely no pharmaceutical knowledge. So of course, those employees will be a liability to government in the first instance. So what did they do? They said, we're going to pay you. Then they gave 100% duty free for imported raw materials to convert to value. And they gave another 100% duty free for exported finished product, and they gave 50% duty free if you sell it locally, because then they have to mobilize some level of taxation. And they, in many respects, were able to attract multiple companies. What are the conditionalities we have? There's so much bureaucracy. You have to go, if it is a concession, you have to go to the legislature. There's so much politics, there's so much issue. We have not created clear conditions, and we have not created success stories locally. America has created success stories. So also have China. So also is Europe doing. But we have not. There are many other African countries that try. Nigeria, Ghana, Tanzania, Kenya. They're all creating success stories. Rwanda is at the top of the curve. So also is South Africa. In many respects, we're not learning much. We're not being innovative. We're working within our ecosystem. And the algorithms that they are using is never going to work. And so Boyka and his team are not ready for prime time. They've been there 3 years. They have not kept a single promise. Okay, look, we're going to create 10,000 IT students within the first 3 months. We criticize that. You have not heard a thing about that. Oh, the rule of law will be strengthened. Somebody is in jail that is a drug person, is free, and you hear nothing about that. We're going to strengthen the rule of law. Somebody wins a case, and then you grab the jurors, even though they deny it, you place them in jail. When you get embarrassed, then you free them as though you're terrorizing the jurors. I mean, what is it that Boyka is actually doing? I don't understand. In terms of harmonization, he said, okay, they reduce your pay. The cost of things yesterday were more expensive, were cheaper than they are today, of course, because of inflation, because of movements in the global trade infrastructure. But you have not been able to, in spite of the fact that you have more money collected, you have not been able to pay people the monies that were cut off the salaries. So what can we grade Boyka about? Maybe we can grade him by the more drugs. And of course, Kush, there's more Kush coming to the country. Those days they used to say that we are government, but now I don't know what is Boyka. I think he and we are did a trade-off, and now he's the biggest importer of the Kush. So you see, all these kinds of things are not going to work. Then during the We Are tenure, they printed 48 billion, I think 48 or 42 billion Liberian dollars to change the currency on the market. And what do we have? Boyka is doing, I think, 78 or 79 billion dollars to just to change mutilated notes. What can we really grade Boyka about? And it's a pity, because the lives of young people are at stake. We have more than 3,000 to 5,000 graduates last year from university. They are all unemployed, no job. So I'll stop and give you guys the opportunity. Sorry, sometimes I can be long-winded.
It's all right. It's all right. Let me welcome Dr. Peabody. Dr. Peabody, welcome to the show. You got your homeboy from right down the street. He's not from Owens Grove, but he's from right down the street. Welcome to the show.
Good to see everybody. Good to see you, Mr. Freeman. Happy Friday, and welcome to your first appearance on the closing argument. We're delighted to have you. The last time we met was on Spoon, so now closing
Right.
argument share. Welcome and good to see you. Always good to see you. But welcome everybody.
Thank you so much, sir.
Nagbe.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Let me go to Honorable Victor Nagbe. Our guest is here.
Yeah, and thank you. I've been following the show, Mr. Freeman. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the show. I got to say, I've always thought you were from the Southeast, so I'm a little bit disappointed that you're not a Bassa man, but I like your ideas. I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by, the ideas that you put out. Yesterday here, one of my brothers here and I were debating your proposal about converting the executive mansion to a 5-star hotel. I hope you have some time to expand on that, but welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Nagbe. You know, the issue of the executive mansion, many times when you talk to people in Liberia, the first thing they say to you is, senators and representatives in this country makes this, and so we're supposed to make this. But then they don't argue that the GDP of Ghana that pays their representatives and senators less than we pay our representatives is actually about $70-something billion. Liberia's GDP, it's about, I think it's hovering between 5 or 6 billion. I stand to be corrected. But then we collect a lot less, have a smaller economy, but then we want to compare ourselves. It's like somebody makes $50,000 a month, you make $5,000 a month, and you want to start comparing with the shoes that you guys are supposed to be wearing or the watch and what have you. So having said that, listen, I'll give you an example. Liberia was founded as a country in 1847. The Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs were only founded in 1972. Did you know that?
No.
So you can research that, sir. The Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs was only founded in 1972. Now, for the almost 12 years of President Seleke, where did she work from?
Not from the mansion.
So that means the president of Liberia can work from an area that is not that very big building that is so expensive to operate. At least we all agree on that. So if we all agree on that, it means if you make me president, you're not going to make me president to consume all of the resources. Just that mansion alone is consuming $25 million a year. Imagine what $25 million could do for real estate, for health, for manufacturing in our country, even for the productive sector, for economic capacitation. So I'm saying as president, I'm going to convert that mansion into a public structure where it is privatized and government of Liberia still owns it, but is generating money and placing it in the coffer. I'll give you another example. Several years ago, we're arguing that, telecom should be run by government. Today, but every time telecom was run by government, it did not generate money. It was a huge liability. Today, you have only 2 players in the sector, Orange and MTN, and those 2 companies generate a significant quantity of our revenue. Millions of dollars in GST, millions of dollars in corporate income tax. So I want that mansion to generate money for us instead of being a liability to us. The job of the presidency of Liberia is a serious business. We have hundreds of millions of our young children have no hope. Young women have to convert themselves into all kinds of things just to survive. Young men have no option. And most probably that's why this drug thing is so prevalent. So what I want to do is to use public resources to capacitate our people rather than using public resources for myself. One of the things I'll look at, you probably have heard that I talked about our foreign ministry. Why should we be spending up to, I think, 23 or 22 or $23 million on our foreign ministry? The president of Colombia, you can Google that even while we're talking. The guy came to power, the new president. He shut down 14 embassies immediately. He shut down 15 consulates. That's about 29 institutions shut down to reduce his cost. Why is Liberia having all of these ambassadorial representation, spending $22 million of our money when our hospitals are not even functional? JFK doesn't work. Nowhere actually works. But we justify these things and say, this is bureaucracy. For me, it doesn't make sense. So from a private sector perspective, the money of the country is supposed to work for the people of the country. If you make me CEO of your company, I have to work to give value to shareholders. I'm not going to work to spend all of the money just on operation. Because if the shareholders are not making money, the company share is going to drop. So if the government is not working for the people to create value for the people, then the people will not be taken along in the development chain. That's why some Harvard economists came to Liberia some time ago and said, yeah, we're having growth, but growth without development. Because the people are not being impacted by resources collected. So while we're celebrating $1.2 billion in collection, the truth is not much is happening for the people that should be beneficiary of that collection. That's why I'm proposing those radical changes that are totally different from the usual rhetorics that you hear.
Thank you. And I agree with you. Absolutely.
1 minute. We got 10 minutes here to get to the line. Let me work out with Sarah real quick. Then we'll go to the line, take a few calls, and come back to Sarah. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gayman. Hi to Mr. Freeman. Thank you so much for coming on to enlighten us on some of the things you will do if and only if you are president tomorrow. I want to say hi to our panelists on the panel here, and also our fellow folks in the comment section. I want to say hello and thank you so much. I've been following from the background. Very, very great, interesting conversation. Let's keep it on.
Great. Junkies, let's go to the line. You got 10 minutes. Let's take a few calls. Then we'll go to Mr. Toure, then Anthony, and then we go down the line. We got a lot to talk about. It's going to be hot. We're ready to rock and roll. Junkies, let's go. You are muted.
Yes. Good to go now. So this is Freedom FM, the closing argument, and we have on our show tonight Honorable Simeon Freeman. He is the political leader of the Movement for Progressive Change, and he's aspiring to become the president of our country. You listen to him. He outlines several plan and action to better life and to change this country. Have your say. Call us on those numbers on 0776 104 104 0886 500 104. This first call. Hello, your name and where you joining the closing argument from? Yeah, quickly, 15 seconds each. What will you do with everything? But it's when young people, especially children are sporting. What will you do? What will be a strategy? Thank you, William Harris. This other call on line 2. Your name and where are you joining the closing argument from? Hello, I'm calling from Joseph Doe. Welcome, quickly. Yeah, okay. Mr. Kumar, you sound good. No, that's a cool thing that they always say, but when they get there at the same show, we have heard that plenty from people. All those who are born there, they spoke the same English. Oh, they'll do that. As soon as you go there, you can't see it again. Okay. So, thank you. We'll leave it there and go to line 3. Your name and where are you joining us from? Okay. Welcome. Quickly, go ahead. Honorable Freeman is listening. Yeah. Okay, we'll leave it there, brother Elephant Country. And this call back to line 1. Your name and where are you joining us from? Hello? Oh, that call slip. This other call, your name and where are you joining us from? Line 2. I'm Mr. Rune. I'm calling from where? And you got 15 seconds, quickly. Okay, very good. You see, Mr. Senior cannot make a good president. Mr. Senior and hello? Yeah, hello. I'm calling from Joseph. Yeah, then we got 15 seconds for you, quickly. Okay, only one of the national issue that the man brought out, I think that could be the best thing because as you were saying, somebody was saying there that the money should be generated to help the country. Because we the poor are the only one that generating funds for this country. We pay taxes and we can see how it is used. So it can also be over there, we the poor will
pay here, and the taxes will grab for us, and we're able to live comfortable. Thank you.
Okay, and we'll be able to live comfortably. Call us on those numbers on 0776 104 104. This other call, yeah, on line 4. Your name and where are you joining us from? Yeah, you have 15 seconds you got, quickly. Yeah, you are coming in faint. So we leave you and go back to line 1. Your name and where are you joining us from? You are our third to the last caller.
Yeah, I am William Tube. I called from Bravo.
And so you utilize the 15 seconds.
Yeah, I want to applaud Mr. Freeman. Yes, that in this country we don't elect those people with future-minded and love this country. Always go according to popularity. My question to Mr. Freeman: if he become president, what will he do to generate on that? Or are hearing that the government of Nigeria, you government trying to prioritize or deport the international airport because the government having money to support it? What would you do and what would you apply?
Thank you, and we'll leave it there and take the second to the last. Your name and where are you joining the closing argument from?
Mr. Rune Johnson.
Yeah, quickly.
Hello?
Quickly, go ahead.
Very good. I told you that Mr. Singh did not make a good president. Mr. Singh and on his particular show the other time.
Yeah, so listen. Hello?
He's looking for powerful people.
Hello?
Number 2.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, so take your time now. Take your time.
He showed us that he was bringing in cattle. That was the beginning of his riches. He was bringing cattle.
Okay, if you address that, since we don't have time, we'll go to our last call. Hello, where are you joining us from? Dwindle the volume of your monitor.
Calling from the country of West Point.
That 15 seconds you go.
Yeah, I want to start your studio guest, Mr. Freeman. Good afternoon. God bless you for your political ambition. I support it well, and I will be one of the men standing the gap to mobilize for the township.
Okay, we take this one as an exception. This exception. Welcome. 10 seconds. Quickly.
Yeah. What Mr. Freeman is saying, for me, I don't believe it because as a politician, they can't tell plenty, can't do nothing for us.
Okay. Okay, so that's how we want to call it a night. We can take Hussein Kehleboe for 7 seconds. Hussein, quickly.
So I think you want to so let's say good evening to you, good evening to your guest studio. Anyway, like you said, I'm Hussein Kehleboe calling from Chicago. So a quick question to your guest. As the expenditure of this government, can you point out any progress that you know of?
Okay. So Hussein, the honorable man got your point. My time is up. And so, Honorable Gayman, Honorable Simeon Freeman, you listen to the callers. But I have to go from my end here.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, sir.
I did take note. I know he took note too. I know.
Yeah, and so as I leave, I want to leave this question with Honorable Simeon Freeman because I did not have the time to ask.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to know what's your position on the domestic investigators taking charge of this case that we are continuously seeing individuals who are in higher positions at the level of the security apparatus are being involved and names are being called and traces are linking most of them, compromising the authority to lead the investigation process. And how do you see that and people like us calling for independent international investigators? And to close, I will also want to know, since indeed you have this idea of making Liberia better, you have the intellect, you have all of the know-how in terms of mitigating these problems we've been faced with perpetually and perennially as a government, and you do not have that numerical advantage over the times if it had been shown. What's your take as it relates to a perfect collaboration in the opposition community to unseat this government that is leading the country? Those are my questions, and good night. I wish you well, Honorable Simeon Freeman.
Thank you so much, sir, and you have a good night.
Thank you.
Honorable Freeman, I know you took notes. I took notes too. Let's go over some of these questions, then we'll go back to our panelists. But I know you took notes. Let's start with the one that I took. The guy said, every politician says the same thing. But then when they come to power, they revert to the status quo. So that tells me that the people have no confidence in politicians anymore. How do you break that cycle?
Well, it's you know, the problem is like a razor blade with two edges. The people elect crooks, pretenders, to power, and they expect those crooks and pretenders to liberate them from poverty and deprivation. So ultimately, they keep electing the wrong people, and then they blame the very set of people, you know, that they enable for leadership. I'm totally different. Never worked in government before. Worked in the private sector throughout my life. I started from poverty. I started by selling on the streets of Monrovia. I rose to the rank of where I am with businesses, not just in Liberia, but elsewhere, across the continent. It's been a difficult feat. Many times when these things are said, people take it for granted. It takes discipline to leave Liberia, go to America, and rise up to being a multimillionaire. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of discipline to go to America with a high school certificate and get a doctorate degree. It takes a lot of discipline. So when people let us avail ourselves, it's also an opportunity. But because too many people have failed, so the conclusion is, oh, politicians are the same. They say these beautiful things. But let's take phase one. Boyka's entire life he worked in the public sector. Boyka was LPMC managing director in Lofa. He became Minister of Agriculture. He wanted to be vice president to do that. Didn't work. Moneyba took the job. He got pissed. He succeeded in being vice president to Ellen. Nothing really happened. Now he's president. So Boyka doesn't have a make it happen capacity. When Boyka stopped being vice president, he could hardly pay his own bills. In my life, it's totally different. I pay my own bills, and I've risen to the top. So I'm bringing a lot of experience. So the commitments that I am making are doable. And the reason why whenever I say it, I always refer to other countries, because these things are doable. Let's talk about the foreign ministry again. A president comes to power in Colombia and does the very thing that I say I would do if you made me president. It means these things are doable. Rwanda, you know, you saw the level of humility. The guy comes to power as a rebel leader, transform his country. Today, Rwanda is one of the biggest IT hub, not just in that part of Africa, but on the entire African continent. It used to be Kenya. These things are doable. Today, we're talking about printing $7.5 billion. And I was saying, look, if you look at the central bank report, it says in 2025, on mobile money, we did more than $4 billion US by mobile money. It also says that we have a total of 9 million active subscribers on Momo. You may be wondering, the population of Liberia is about 5 to 6 million. How come we have 9 million? Because they put all of the platforms. They take Momo, they take mobile money, that's MTM, they take Orange, they take all of the other Momo platforms. So Mr. Gayman could be on multiple platforms. So it totals 9 million users. Those 9 million users, you're saying to me that we cannot digitize our economy, that we still have to be spending $1 million to $1 million US to print about 10 million Liberian dollars of our money that has a 6-month lifespan. and you say these people that are making these decisions are thinking properly or looking at the problems properly. Those are some of the changes I want to bring to the table. And so it's doable. So those who have that doubt, I say to them, let's try the right person. When you give the right man the right job, the problem becomes doable. And listen to how we speak. I don't speak vaguely. I speak specifically addressing those issues because I come from a private sector background.
Great. The last question, then we'll go to our panelists here. He wanted you to talk about the government trying to privatize the port. What is your thought? You are into privatization. They're talking about privatizing the port.
I think when you talk about, you see, you have to be careful. We have to be careful. I will take you back. Like I said, I will share history with you guys. You know, between 1950 to 1950 to 1955, 16. But in between there emerged two powerful groups of people. You know, around the president, you always have two groups. And it's also stated in that book, the issue of how do we develop Liberia? There were one group of people that were saying, look, let's develop Liberia using Liberians only. And there was this other group around the president that said, let's develop Liberia using foreigners. That group that was more powerful around President Totma at the time was the group that prevailed. And so Totma launched the open door policy. And the purpose of that book was to evaluate that. Now let's turn it around. If we had developed Liberia using Liberians, we would not have had this disaster that we have today. Would I look at probably privatizing the port? Yes, I would. But I would want to make sure it is run by Liberians and Liberian businesses. If they don't have the means and the resources, as the government will be willing to guarantee them having access to the funds that they need in order to run it. You see, if we go back to yesteryears where in the case of all of the other companies, take today B Mountain, our gold is being exploited by a company, taking out of Liberia, no value is added, few people get some kind of job and that's it. I don't see me, friend, I wouldn't want that. I would want to take the panelists on the show, give you guys the money, go and set up one company, a corporation, and if it's going to take $50 million to run the airport, I'm going to loan that money to you guys to ensure that you basically run it. And it doesn't necessarily mean because you own it, so you're going to be the managing director. That's why we have the National Investment Commission partner with you. We will hire the guy that has the expertise in airport management to come and run it. You see, Dubai is doing that. The guy who has the Emirates airport infrastructure, or even Qatar Airways, these are all British guys that basically have the expertise. So the guys who have the expertise, we're going to bring them to be CEO. That means they will be employees for Liberian shareholders. So that's the way I see it. That's another guy that talked about how am I going to deal with this gambling business and what have you. You live in America, Busman. Detroit was a viable place. What happened when the car industry shut down in Detroit? Detroit became a drug gang. It became a place where people gamble a lot. A lot of things happened. Also in Spain, when an industrial hub went down in Spain, that part of Spain, there was a lot of domestic violence, drug, and all these things. These things happen when people are unemployed. Wherever you find unemployment, these things flourish and prosper. And that's why we want to ensure we focus more on job creation instead of spending the public resources on sustaining bureaucracies.
Thank you. Let me go to AB. Mr. Toure, our guest is here, and don't speak bastard, please. You're too biased over here. The chief is here, and AB Toure is the host of Straight Talk Liberia. A very insightful gentleman. Your turn, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. I think it's an honor to have you here today. I listen to you and I hear a lot of things you've said, and if I'm being honest with myself, yeah, there are some things you said. You know, I always believe that Liberia can go further with entrepreneurs who have this entrepreneur mindset, who are business minded. I really believe that. However, I also want a leader that respects its country's artifacts, its country's system of government. Like you are aware, you may be aware, the government, the Liberian mansion was not a it was not a mansion that was built by Liberian money. It was a mansion that was built by the U.S. As a gesture to us, as a country, and that mansion holds a lot of historic and symbolic. It's very symbolic to us as a country. You want to destroy a mansion that you'll be spending you're gonna spend I don't have millions of dollars to maybe $3, $4, $5 million to revamp the mansion to make it what it's supposed to be, just to get $1.2 million from there every year and build what Liberia have a accountability issue. Liberia problem is not about, I don't think it's about being ideas. If anything, ideas is the lack of accountability. That has been Liberia problem. And I'm not a presidential candidate to say this to you, but that's just a glaring fact, right? Leaders are not accountable. And you want to destroy the mansion, build another place for a president, or operate in another building, or build it up as a president, spend a lot of money building up as a president. I don't think it's nationalistic, and I want a leader that will defend our artifacts. I want a leader that will defend our country, hold up to what are there. And you make these statements here. I could pretty much say you're just talking, you're just shooting your guns out the bullet. You don't. It's not a presidential will to destroy a mansion. The president don't destroy mansions. You know what I mean? You have to have congressional agreement.
So what's your question?
No, I'm making a statement before getting my question, right? So I think you're misleading us in that because I don't think your approach is right. It's not nationalistic. I think it's wrong. That's number one. Number two, I want to ask you this. During the 2018 thereabout, you had a company, I think you have Vist Water back, but by that time it came around 2014, 2013 thereabout. Vist Water operated in Liberia. Subsequently, Vist Water became what it was, and you had to shut down. I think you're trying to do Coca-Cola or manufacturing drinks and stuff like that. You shut down because you said the economy was not good. Recently, you said Joseph Boakai government had not done nothing good in the country. All they had done was to bring drugs. Now, before he came to the power, he shut down because the economy was bad. It was bad at the time. Now you just did a tour, which one will infer trying to reopen the area. Are you saying in a way that the economy is good to awaken, reopen now, or why it went back then was bad when you shut down earlier because it was bad?
Thank you, Mr. Ture. Firstly, I think you have made some very erroneous assumptions. First one is that when the factory was shut down, we shut it down because the machinery we had was a 5,000 bottles per hour machinery. Now, in the water industry, 5,000 might sound huge, but small. Now we've invested in a machinery that is 25,000 bottles per hour. That's millions of dollars. And not just that we have invested in that size, instead of just doing water, we're also going to be doing soft drinks. So two different products. So it didn't go down because of a bad economy. It went down because of the size of the infrastructure. So then with that size, you're talking about economies of scale. We were using a 500 kVA generator then. It's the same type of machines we need. And now we're using the same 500 kVA generator, but we'll be able to produce more. So that 500 kVA generator uses about 25 gallons an hour, 25 to 30 gallons an hour. Now that's a lot. So if you're running it for say 15 hours a day, that's quite a lot, lots of investment. So you see with 25,000 bottles, we get a lot more because our operational costs will be absorbed by the quantity of output. So that's why it was shut down. So now with the opening, we have to expand the facility, and that's what the investment was about. So on the flip side of, in terms of the mansion and artifacts, the number one responsibility of a president is to look after the well-being of the people of the country. It's the job of a CEO. If you have a company and make me CEO, or you probably are invested in the stock market, the companies stock that you've bought are those companies that are doing very well. So as president, the executive mansion is not going to be shut down or broken down or destroyed. And the words you use are totally misplaced. We said we will have a private company, and it's going to be a Liberian-owned company. If they don't have the resources, we will loan them public resources. You know, I will take you back. You know, as part of my thesis, I wrote on 3 countries: South Korea, China, and America. And you know, one of the things that I saw is that a lot of public resources was used to build America. I will give you a short history of Coca-Cola. During the early days of the war, Coca-Cola needed sugar to mix this Coke drink. Coca-Cola made its way to the sugar bowl. Coca-Cola, as much as other factories shut down, U.S. troops abroad and fighting forces were consuming a lot of Coca-Cola. They needed it. So during the sugar rationing period, Coca-Cola got a lot of sugar and they survived. Public resources. You saw during the 2008 crisis, you heard this big economic word that was used, quantitative easing. Public resources was given to private businesses to ensure that they succeed. So what I want to do with that mansion is to make it an income generating infrastructure, not to shut it down. So guess what? Let's look at India, the Taj Mahal. They put a hotel there. It's a historical artifact, but it's expensive to stay there, and it's generating income. Also, you've done something else. You've said we'll be generating about $1.2 million a year. That's not true. For you to assume that we'll be generating $1.2 million a year is totally mistaken. Firstly, it's not just going to be a hotel or be a historical site. And Liberia wouldn't be the first country to do it. A lot of countries do that, and they generate so much money. The number one job of the president, take care of the people. The job of the president is not to take the people's money, spend it around, and come and make flowery speeches. And so I just thought to correct those 2 historical perspectives while also correcting the approach that has been indicated. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let me go to Sarah. Sarah, our guest. You've been listening.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Gayman. I also want to say thank you again to you, Mr. Freeman. I listened to you and a lot of things you've said, and one of the things that I really admire about what you said is getting Liberians involved in their own economy, using Liberians. That is close to my heart because our people from generation to generation, from government to government, have always been, sitting at the backstage and letting foreigners, take control of our economy. So that part of your, explanation is very much close to my heart. And hopefully if you become a president, that would be really, really great, something to do. My question to you is, with regards to all of these concession agreements that are being carried out in our country, and now we're talking about the port, the airport being, given to private company for 25 years. 25 years. Okay. Is that something that you would advise any president to do, or is that something you would do? I mean, with regard to the concession agreement, do you see any need to kind of revise those things to the best interest of the country? What will you do different?
So the concept of privatization is a very good idea. But don't forget, when you privatize, you must be able to have local participation. You've seen in America, sometimes that's the thing. A lot of the people in Liberia were schooled in America. They listen to international news. You saw today, Chinese cars are so cheaper than American cars, and they have a lot more features, but you can't buy. Why? Because America said, look, if we allow Chinese cars here, it's going to kill our car industry. So you see, they are protecting local industry. When Chinese investors invest in America, they deny it. Just the other day, Japan, a partner of America, wanted to buy the American steel company, and the president put stop to that. I don't know, what are we sleeping? But when it comes to us, what do? We take our country, we give it to foreigners, and then we happy with that. And then we say, Liberians will this, that. As president, I will support privatization, but here's the thing. I'm going to use public resources. I'm sure you must have followed the Central Bank of Liberia bragging about $1 billion reserve. Think about it. Think about you as a mother talking about you having $1 million in the bank and your kids are out of school. Help me make that make sense. I want to use public resources. I want to use public resources to enable. So you can get a team of people that know nothing about running that airport. They are shareholders. They are owners. Like you are invested in companies in America that make money for you, and your share price go up. So we will have the management team, maybe foreign because they have the expertise, and we can have that system of grafting where over time Liberians will learn. What they want to do is to make the airport more efficient. But one of the biggest challenges at that airport is not right now, it's not about the privatization. I will tell you something. In the whole of Africa, there is only one country where planes can be repaired, and that's in Southern Africa. There is only one country where planes can be inspected, that's Southern Africa. One of the reasons why, so the last time you noticed when Delta broke down in Ghana and Nigeria, the people had to wait on the ground. They flew another plane from America to come and rescue. Now think about us saying we're going to lower drastically our charges at the airport so that Delta, United, Emirates, and all these planes can use Liberia as a hub. That cost would be significant. It's going to be an attraction. One of the biggest problems at our airport are our charges. Our charges are huge. The second thing is the plane fuel, very huge. If we reduce our charges, every year we can spend, even if the government were to spend 50 million every year, 25 million, it can expand our airport by itself. But even if we were to privatize it, we can enable Liberian wealth. Now, here's what's going to happen. You see, if you enable Liberian wealth, Liberians will reinvest. Take you guys, this number of people here. Say you guys are about 5. We take a company and you begin to make money. You will now reinvest that money into other service sectors. That's why America is so rich, because they create wealth for Americans and the Americans reinvest the money domestically and it keep expanding. I don't know what is there that we not see. So yes, am I for privatization? Yes, but privatization to the detriment of our people? That's sad. In Ghana, the lounges are owned by Ghanaians. In Liberia, the only lounge is owned by a foreigner. It's sick. And we sit here and we want those kinds of things to happen. And we say, oh, Liberians don't know how to do business. That is not true. Liberians know how to do business, but the government is not enabling that output. A lot of you used to send used cars to Liberia. A lot of you used to send things to sell. Why you stop? Because the duty at the port is crazy.
It is.
And when you pay a container tracking number, a MedTech fee, this other fee, APN terminal, MPA, when you're done with all of those fees,
yep,
you find yourself totally uncompetitive. And so a lot of you stop the side business you are doing that would have been the stepping stone to returning to Liberia. Yep. Those are the things that's really killing us. We need to reduce these taxation because that high taxes may be giving us high revenue, but that high revenue is costing us competitiveness in our own economy. Ghanaians own up to 70% of the economy. Liberians don't even own up to 10%. We have 5,000 Lebanese in this country that own almost 80%, almost 60% of the economy. The next is owned by Indians, the rest owned by Fullers. Seriously? And when you're having these discussions, people still want to speak disorderly. Thank you so much.
Mr. Peabody, Dr. Peabody.
Hey, Mr. Freeman, good to see you again.
That'll be Dr. Peabody second time around.
Oh no, I haven't spoken.
Why you see you
That's not true. I haven't spoken at all. The first time I just introduced him.
All right.
They let talking
about.
Let
other people. Mother Freeman.
It's our pastor solidarity.
Yeah. Mother Freeman. Good to see you, man. Yeah, my question. You talking some great things here. You know, one of the things that have caught my heart over the years is when I walk into that business lounge at Roberts Field, eating Ghanaian jollof rice and drinking Ghanaian wine and stuff like that in my own country, it makes me sick. In fact, sometimes I will not go there. I refuse to go there because I cannot be in my own country on a Sunday and eating Ghanaian jollof rice and Ghanaian fried chicken. We give it out to foreigners to rent, and it just shows that, it implies that Liberians are not capable of running or even doing catering business and stuff like that. It's sickening. But that came from the previous government. You know what relationship they had or what they didn't have. They did that. But let me ask you this question. You know, I listened to you. You were talking about the days, the so-called unquote Conga. Then the Doe came. They had the Crown Conga. Now we have the Lofa Conga. Now, all of that. One of the things that I wanted to ask you about is there is a report out there, and that report is very legit. The president's son, someone that he read, Dr. Tama, who was at JFK, built a clinic in Liberia just recently. The president was there to inspect that for the dedication of that clinic. Now there report that Dr. Tama, who is the husband of Louis Tama, who is the business manager at the Minister of State for the president, Louis Tama. Now there report that they are using some of the medication and things that were intended for JFK, and it's going to the clinic. I mean, the hospital. Could you throw some light on that kind of broad day corruption and nepotism?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oops. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you. We can hear you. Can you hear us? Yes, we can hear you.
The corruption people that call you loud.
You may have to go out and come back in.
Yeah, you gotta go out and come back.
1 second. If you're not hearing me, 1 second, please.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
You don't mess with Tama. Tama will get you.
He's probably not hearing us.
Yeah, I think he's on his Bluetooth.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
1 second.
Can you hear us?
He's not hearing us.
You're not hearing us?
Yeah, Bluetooth.
1 second, gentlemen. 1 second. Can you hear me now?
Yes. We can
Can
hear
you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just 1 minute. It's the
okay, go ahead.
It's the earbud. Just one.
Okay. You have to go and come out. Tama,
don't joke. And the Lofa Congo people don't joke.
Can you hear me?
You know, it started with the Bassa Congo. They took it from us. Then they took it to Grand Nigeria Congo. Now it's to Lofa Congo. So the Congo did not ball with that. I think we gotta go back to.
You know, tomorrow you should let Junkie speak the Maryland Congo. Come here. You should hear
Can you hear me?
Come here.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear us? I'm getting a feedback. Anthony, can you mute?
1 second. Let me just.
Yes,
1 second, please.
Yes. Mr. Simon Freeman. Maybe he can't hear.
The Baza Nietzsche people them
1 second.
got his phone going, water.
The Nietzsche got nothing on the Tamas. The Tamas
The Nietzsche.
All along, I thought Mr. Freeman was from Cape Town. That's what I thought.
Oh, okay. Don't let the name fool you. The Baza people get children. But let me go to Anthony. Anthony, what's trending on the ground? What is it that people are talking about while we wait for the chief?
Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Gayman. Today has been a day filled with controversy in Liberia. As you may be aware, there has been link and not link. I'm not dead, and I'm a name. I'm not part of it. All around the country since the drug bust occurred. And today, and yesterday, between yesterday and today, activist Martin Kiankoli has been revealing, her facts all along the internet. I think some of you have seen them, and one of them happens to be a close relations between the private bar CEO George Leroy Harris and the ITIN LDA boss Fitzgerald T.S. Biago, who is also serving in the capacity as the Human Resource Director at the Liberia National Police. The vehicle he currently owns in his convoy, the gray pickup, according to Martin, it was gifted to him by George Leroy Francis, who is also Leroy Harris, who is also called George Y. Harris. That happens to be his real name. And as usual, the agency has come out. They've come out and they issue a debunk to the allegation. They've said their boss is not in the know of that. He did not receive any gift from anyone that's linked to drug cartel, and so he remains. His integrity remains on the high. It's a game, and that's what's unfolding in Liberia. It's very, very interesting. We'll try to bring that on a little time.
Excellent. Can you hear me now, Chief?
Yes, I'm back, sir. I apologize. I apologize to Dr. Peabody. So can you kindly go ahead, sir? I apologize. I think my earphone on the other side went dead.
I'm not going to talk long. I'm going to make it short. I think I was just referring to a very credible story that came up today in Liberia. It's credible. It's about the administrator of JFK, Dr. Tama, who's married to Louis Tama, who is the business manager for President Boakai. They built a hospital some time ago in Liberia. I think it's called Ocean Hospital. And President Boakai was there for the dedication. And there are reports that most of the medication and things intended for JFK now are making their way to Ocean Hospital. Dr. Tama actually was raised by President Boakai. So how do you address this kind of broad day corruption and nepotism? How do you address that?
I would like to be careful. You see, in Liberia, people like to smear people's character and be very derogatory about people's image. I think if there are hard facts, JFK can be audited. And I think the audit report will show if indeed drugs intended for JFK were diverted to a private facility. I think it's only fair if you were in that position, or any one of you, or any relative of yours, I think that would be the best thing to do. The best thing to do is do a spot check. You have the Internal Audit Agency, you have the General Auditing Commission. They can do a quick forensic audit and determine how much money came in, what was procured, and how it was consumed. In that way, we have hard facts and the people can be prosecuted. But many times I've noticed in this country, people come up with things that they really have no facts about. I don't like the way Joseph Boakai is running the country, but because I don't like the way he's running the country doesn't mean I agree with things that are not supported by facts.
Victor Nagbe. Okay, while Victor is out there, okay, there you go. Victor, your turn.
Thank you. Thank you again, Mr. Freeman. I'm just really sitting here and I'm blown away, by most of these very common sense, solutions that you're putting forth for our country. And let me ask you this. I have two questions because I think, it may be a while for me to come around again. One is this. You are Mr. Alexander Cummings, and now Musa Ability is coming on the scene, Ben and you, right? You're all business people, you run successful businesses. I worked for the casino before I went into education. There is a common mantra that the customer is never wrong. So in our Liberian scenario, the electorate is never going to be wrong. I always say that you guys find so much difficulty in adjusting to the electorate such that you don't seem to gain gravity, traction. I think this will be your third time around, Mr. Cummings, third time around. I don't even think Mr. Ure is considering running again. So I'd like you to address that with all these brilliant ideas. I read some of your suggestions, proposals, but this is the first time I'm really listening to you at length, and I'm taking away. So I'd like you to address that. My second question is this: you are the sole distributor and agent of DSTV. I understand DSTV is based in South Africa, and there's all of this coming out of South Africa against Black Africans, in spite of the fact that most of Africa supported them before 1994. Before all of this, and now they seem to be taking out their frustration and angst, bad economy and all of that, and they're booting out Africans. I know Liberians also have come home, the Ghanaians are coming home, Nigerians are coming home, Zimbabwe, all the, how do you square that off, with your business interests? The fact that you have so much holding from South Africa, and considering what they're doing to their own brothers and sisters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nagbe. And again, don't be so, for a long time, Grand Bassa was like the capital of that region. And, so.
Tell him again. Tell him.
And the Bassa people are more, anyway, parts of Nimba that you call Wee and Dolu is actually Bassa. Then you have Riverses, then you have Grand Bassa. So the Bassa people, and then you have parts of Magibi. Most of Magibi is actually Bassa. So the Bassa tribe is really large, and you have large deposits of them in Montserrat as well. But having said that, I was just from a historical perspective. Anyway, having said that, on a more serious note, MultiChoice, the company that owns DSTV is the product, is owned by a French company. So Canal Plus bought over MultiChoice. So it's no longer a South African business. But be that as it may, let's assume it was still a South African business. I would say to you that most of what you see on the television is happening in places like, for example, West Point, Clarendon, Logantown, those kinds of places. In the urban parts of South Africa, they're not really happening there. There are lots of foreigners living in South Africa in urban parts. You're never going to see that in Sandton or in many of the other parts, Rambur and all that. Now, you have places like Alexandria, Soweto, the townships where there are lots of Black people that are poor. And so the successful Black people from other countries in their midst tend to invoke envy, and that has led to most of the things you see. Is it justified? No, it's not. But again, it's like holding. It's like Liberians in Liberia start to strike at Nigerians, and then somebody say, "Oh, but a Liberian man in Simeon Freeman has a sugar factory here in Nigeria, so let's go after it." Or we start to misbehave to Ghanaians in Liberia, and somebody say, "Oh, Simeon Freeman has a lot of investments in Ghana." I think we need to separate these two things. It is individual actions within certain enclaves that is not widespread, even though it's very bad and it must not be supported, but it's totally not linked. It's two different things altogether. Having said that, coming to the issue of collaboration, like you heard me say in Grant, we're very open to collaboration. We're fully aware that the Liberian political infrastructure is such that we have to talk to each other and we have to work with each other. But hey, we have a long time ahead. From the MPC perspective, we're launching quite a lot of youth programs. And those youth programs, in our mind, will give us access to the youth in very unbridled ways. And I think will influence youth mindset. We're working with a lot of young people in different ways, and you will begin to see those fruits. So we don't think that our performance of yesterday will be the same outcome today, because our strategies are totally different, and we're working and engaging with them in a totally different way. But again, in the same vein, we're open to collaboration, and we want to work with our compatriots in the opposition to ensure that it's not about just kicking Boyka out, but to ensure that we can bring better governance to the table. I'll give you an example. In South Africa, as a result of the way South Africans voted, you notice power issues disappear in South Africa quickly. You know, in the last administration about a year or two ago, South Africa was having serious power problems. Now with the new administration, the minister of our ministry is from the ANC. The deputy minister is from another party, the DA. The other deputy minister is from another party. So as a result, you have that rainbow infrastructure leading the country. And so like everybody is watching the other person, and that has led to a better outcome for South Africa as a country. They become more competitive and what have you. So I think if we came together with those kinds of discussions, it will help us quite a lot. But from our perspective in the MPC, we're very open while at the same time working. So it's like, if you have a company selling milk, I have a company selling milk, even though we've agreed to merge, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't invest more in my milk company, so that when we come together, it means that I take 60% and you take 40, even though the milk company is coming together. So from the MPC perspective, we want to work aggressively to ensure that when we do come together, we're not just going to be one of the numbers, but we're going to be one of the influencers in the alliance.
Excellent, excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the professor. I call him the professor because he is so prolific in his area. You know, this is what we are talking about when we say, do not talk across discipline. You notice everything he's saying here is specific to business, and he's crossing the T's and dotting the I's. That is somebody who knows what they are talking about. He has done it before. So for those of us who were kind of skeptical about, if you have not run a business, you have not taken a risk, then you don't know how to manage. We are now being convinced that yes, he knows what he's talking about. So it is your turn. Put your comment into the comment section, and we'll add these questions. Chief, you know, there's a lot. Let's talk about the young people. What is it that you're going to do for youth development? Because listen, if 60% of the population under 30, and any administration that doesn't pay attention to the youth, they are doomed. What is your plan before we go to foreign policy next? But let's talk about the youth. What is your plan?
Mr. Gayman, thank you for that question. It's very, very important. That's why I want to be president. You know, I grew up in Buchanan. My mother didn't finish high school, and so I live on once a day meal. Being a Basel man, and even the crew people know that, the Gribble people know that, but you know, Basel people quick to name things. So we have this pepper in Basel we call Sami Michin. So because, and it's a pepper that's very tough, so you just needed to put one paw in the food and you have trouble. So I used to eat once a day. And eating once a day meant that it wasn't any serious food, but man, they will cook the dry rice, put the potato green or cassava leaf on top of it, put enough pepper in there. And so if you eat, you drink a lot of water because it was really, really, really difficult. And I grew up under tough conditions. I remember when I went to school in the first grade, I failed that year, all thanks to my mother. My mother looked at me when I failed. We were about two that failed in the first grade that year. My mother looked at me and said, "You're my only boy and you fail. I'm going to teach you pepper." That day, you know, Basel and crew people have a way of disciplining their children. She whipped me properly with some pepper. You know, they put the pepper in the water and beat the hell out of you and wash you with the pepper water. You want to run, you want to stand. You don't know what you want to do because the pepper is all over you, your eye, your rectum, all over the place. And you're so confused. And the next year, she didn't just stop there. She sent me to 2 schools. So I used to go to morning and afternoon school up to 6th grade before I stopped. 2 schools, morning, afternoon. And I think that helped build and firm the person that I became. You see, hundreds of thousands of people graduate from university every year. One of the things I would do, and it will be done simultaneously, I want to invest in industry in our country. I'm strong on industry. We need to start manufacturing in our country. West Africa has a major opportunity. Let me give you an example, sugar. If you take all of the sugar factories in Nigeria and put them all together, that just accounts for about 3-4%, maybe 2-3% of Nigeria's sugar needs. Nigeria imports about 90-something% of its sugar. Liberia imports 100%, Ghana 100%, Cote d'Ivoire almost just the same. So just sugar alone is a major industry. Think about the fact that we say, okay, look, we're going to convert the southeastern region into the sugar hub of Liberia. Or maybe since it's now dominating in rice production, we're going to make the southeastern region our rice producing region. And we're going to fund that. What I want to do for Liberian farmers, which constitutes about 70% of our workforce, by the grace of God, become president. I want to, one of the biggest challenges, I'll tell you my own experience. There's a financing institution that engaged me because we had taken a lot of money from them before, and they wanted me to add value to rice in Liberia, and they were offering $20 million. Guess what? We decided, let's launch a feasibility study. We brought in the experts. The guys did a feasibility study that cost us almost, I think, $200,000-$300,000, and we found out something. You cannot you cannot refine rice in Liberia and sell it by the 25-kilo bag. That's why you see everybody that's refining rice in Liberia sells it in the 1 kilo, 2 kilo, because then you can sell it for a higher value. Do you know what the challenge was? We found out something very disturbing. The yield per hectare, by yield per hectare, I mean the quantity of rice that we're getting from 1 hectare or 1 acre of land is far less, about 40%. I think about 30% or so, far less. Now, I think Egypt has one of the highest in Africa. I think they're about 70%. Cote d'Ivoire, I think, is about 50-60%. So here's the thing. You notice if you I grew up in the interior as well. They have this system, the Bassa people call Boo, but it's communal farming, where you see everybody come together to go and farm. And because no one person can clear 5 acres of land at the same time. So some families don't benefit. And then at the end of the period, you notice they will give every family that benefited from the farming process will give them stuff. Now, here's what I realized. When the guys go to plant in the interior, they will just throw the seed right, so the trees are all fell, all in between. They don't have the soil to cut it and what have you. So you see what you see in Asia, when the guys grow the rice, you will notice that it's in a single file, right? All line up. So as a result, what they can get out of there is more. Because we're not getting much out of the land, what happened? Our bucket of rice, what we sell, the seed rice is sold by bucket here. What we sell it for is equivalent to what a refined rice is sold for in India. I'm sure you might know India is the highest exporter, in fact, producer of rice globally, I think up to 39%. You can just mark these things to be able to check them. Now, what I want to do under my presidency, I want to finance 30 private companies, and the job they will be doing will be to clear the land for farmers for free at no cost to them. So I will eliminate that whole pool system. We give them free seedlings. They will plant the seeds, and the yields will develop. So whether it's plantain, sugar, whatever else, banana will develop. Those same companies will buy the yield from them. Before somebody come and say, the guy, I don't know what he's saying. It happened with American companies in Mexico, where they gave free tobaccos, and they bought the yields back from them. Firestone is doing it in Liberia, where Firestone help you set up and then buy the yields back from you. I want to be able to clear the land, buy the yields back. And then you know what's going to happen? That's going to be the fulcrum of the economy. So Mr. Gayman wants to do rice refinement. One of the second challenge we found with that yield per hectare. The second thing was, if you want to do rice in Liberia, you have to open a transportation company. Go to Sano, buy rice from Bassa, buy rice from Nimba, buy rice from Maryland, buy rice from Grand Cru. Imagine if you have to have a truck on the road going from county to county buying rice in small portions, all of your profits gone. So you have to open a transportation company. With this concept, those companies become the fulcrum. They will now buy the yields from the farmer. So if Mr. Gayman wants to refine rice, all he has to do, call any of the 30 companies and say, I want 1 ton of rice per day. You have one company that supplies to you. Your only job is to add value. Then we'll be able to compete. We spend almost $300 million annually on rice import. What we will do per year, we can reduce that importation. Who's going to be working in those industries? Young people, young women, young men that will now have jobs in manufacturing industry. Cassava, now we have access to a lot of cassava. The beer you drink in America, the Corona and Budweiser, all these beers, there is something called Sobito. It comes out of cassava. Imagine Liberia could be the biggest exporter of Sobito. Young people working in those industries. One of the things I will do simultaneously along with that is to realign our educational infrastructure. I went to school in America. I didn't do lots of academics. I did real life education. All of you guys that went to school in America understand that here, nobody asked me what was economics. I didn't discuss what it was. I discussed what it could do, what it could accomplish, all of the case studies I was giving. They made me act like a chief economist of a major Fortune 500 company and present a paper on that. The educational infrastructure here is totally different, and we're deceiving our young people. And so there is a big gap between graduates and job readiness, and we have not come to terms with that. In America, there is no gap between graduates and job readiness. So in every respect, I want to redivert a lot of our education by strengthening technical education. The telephones you use, the clothes you wear, the cars are not built in China by the top engineers. You need a workforce that is tech savvy, that is can-do savvy. And we need to create that. That's not going to happen through some mistake. The government has to drive such a program. I want to create multiples of MVTC. All these rural universities we have in the counties, we want to make them technically capable. Imagine Grand Bassa County, where we went to Mitasi and said, Mitasi, and Nimba County, where we have a university, Grand Bassa, where we have a university, and say, look, we want you to partner with this school so that we create mining engineers, Euclid operators, Euclid drivers. One Euclid probably costs about between $300,000 to $500,000. Why would you want to get a Euclid that costs $500,000 and give it to a guy that has no real driving experience? You can't risk that. But why are our universities not teaching those kinds of people? Train operators, mining engineers. Why are we not training them domestically? Everybody we train in the area of mining, we have to export him abroad. He comes back and he acts like he's some big stuff when Grand Bassa County could be the hub for that. We need to be very drastic. Look, Liberia has a lot of work to do. I have a lot of know-how. I run multiple businesses I'm into multiple different things, whether it's real estate, whether it's manufacturing, different sectors, tourism, all kinds of things we're into it. So all of these different businesses, like a friend of mine said to me, where do you get the energy from? And I said, look, I make sure when we sit in the conference room and I hire you and tell you, said, this is what we want for this period. What do you need to accomplish these things? We give it to you. You must give us back what we've invested in you, or else we have to let you go. And I think if we run government that way, government officials will be more productive. But for the young people, we need to change the algorithm of our educational infrastructure. The ecosystem is really terrible. It disfavors industrial growth, and we need to invest heavily in industrial growth so that young people will be able to tap the opportunities while at the same time learning how to be part of that ecosystem.
Thank you. We will go to Toure. After Toure, we want to go to foreign policy, and we want to go to tourism. You talk about tourism. We want to talk about tourism later on. because we got all of our national parks and we are everything else. If we don't have the infrastructure, I'm in Florida, the headquarters, the mecca for tourism. If you don't have if you have the Sapo National Park and you don't have any way to get there, it's a park. I mean, it's just what it is. Tourist, your turn.
Yeah, thanks again. I think my big brother here. I think the only thing I disagree with Mr. Smith, and I hold my position to that. I don't think destroying the mansion is something that should be done the other way around. And stuff like that. But I'm saying this to say, yeah, man. And
I think the man want to go stay in the mansion. Will let him stay there.
Yeah, before you bring it, I'm gonna go visit that one time before you bring it down. But
no, we're not breaking it down. We're just repurposing.
No, I won't go there as a mansion, not as a hotel. But
so go and see Papa tomorrow. Call your people.
And then you said cool, but it's not cool. It's create the farm.
Yeah, the realtor. Yeah, create. That's right. Create. That's it.
Yeah. Anyway, that said, but I think Mr. Freeman, it's disappointing. Every time I hear a person like you, maybe what's his name? What's the nigga for ANC? Cummins. It's disappointing to me in the sense that, yes, you guys have built something. You guys have something that is tangible. I worked as a contractor for DSTV when you guys were on Benson Street. When I was working at Sky FM at the time as a broadcaster, whatever it is. So I see most of the things you said. I don't disagree with it. My brother talking about tourism. Tourism cannot boom in the economy where there's no light, there's no water. I mean, security is not guaranteed. The healthcare system is not booming. So tourism is not going to boom, and then the money they pay for transportation to go to Liberia is high and plane ticket. Tourism is not going to boom because nobody want to pay that money, for what it is, right? So I get it, but I think my low disappointment is that, and I don't know, it might not be a youth thing, it might just be a Liberian political leader thing. You guys have all these ideas. When can you guys just come together and say, listen, we've been doing this thing too much. We've been looking at it for our own self too much. We've been trying to beat the head too much. Enough is enough. Let's come together. Let's build a team. For example, linking with Mr. Cummins or the likes of other people, the US and whatever it is. Come have a structured team and say, you know what? We are business people. We are structured. We have achieved. This is how we need to go. And then have that and come and rescue the country, for lack of a better word. But Mr. Simon wants to be a president. Cummins wants to be president. The political leader who said, if they can't be president, they can do nothing. So in as much as I hear the enthusiasm, I see a wealth of knowledge you have. I can learn a lot from you, and I want to learn a lot from you. But I feel a little disappointed that everyone you want to be the head, you guys are not willing to at least come together and form a formidable force that will make Liberia what it's supposed to be. That's my little disappointment with you guys. That's all. Period.
Mr. Ture, thank you for that point. And I think we need to make some efforts for you to go and visit the mansion, because once I become president in 2029, we will probably make you one of the marketing leaders there to make sure that we market a public infrastructure as a place where people can stay. They can see where the president wants to stay.
I'll tell the press guy, don't sleep here with the kid. One man,
Anyway, having said that, look, I see your disappointment. One of the things I will tell you, when I listen to people like Mr. Ture, I'm like, okay, so Mr. Ture is actually kicking the can down the road and he's passing the responsibility on. Senior Freeman have come forward. Cummins have come forward. We've come forward and said, we want to be president and we are paying the price for it. The issue is, if Mr. Ture and the rest of the guys on this platform are inspired by the things we say, why don't you join us? Why don't you elevate the conversation? Why don't you be part of the change process? Imagine if Gandhi has sat in, the late Gandhi has sat in South Africa, where as an Indian, he was segregated against. And he said, look, you know what? I come from the Indian subcontinent where the British are segregating against my people. Instead of fighting here in South Africa, I'll go back. He was a successful lawyer. He had access to resources, but he saw himself as part of the process. He went back to India. be inspired and independent. Today, one of the largest economies in the world is India. I'm saying to you, let's all play our role. Why you then, if you play your role, you can now compel us to talk to each other and say, guys, you guys need to talk with each other. At least we've taken the first step. You saw we drove from Monrovia. It was not that we went to Margidi or we went to Marshall. We drove for 8 hours to go to Zwedru City. So that is an indication of our willingness to talk and willingness to collaborate. But that willingness will be insufficient if it is just an us matter. We encourage people like you with your eloquence, your strengths, your capacity, your capabilities. Bring it to the table. Let's move our country forward. I believe every one of us that have all of these capabilities can bring it to the table. We will influence this outcome. We will influence this country. If we don't do anything and let it be the people at the top, the guys who have stepped forward, I think we may not get that Liberia. And sadly, when you step outside this country, you are judged by your passport. Oh, which country are you from? Liberia. They don't see any political party. They don't see your tribe. They will just categorize those foolish Liberian people. So let's add some pride and identity to our country by working together, all of us. So let's play our role so that we can change the process. Thank you, Mr. Ture, and I guess you're going to do that.
Thank you very much. Let me go to Sarah. Sarah.
Thank you so much. Interesting conversation again, Mr. Freeman. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm bothered by a lot of the things that are going on, that go on in our country, and looking at the fact that our country, 179 years old, is behind, grossly behind most of these countries. What would be your take? What would be your policy? What would be your performance on when it comes to our mineral resources? Like I see a lot of countries now trying hard to fight for the control of their resources that will benefit their people. I see that in Burkina Faso. I see that in other Sahel nations fighting for the resources to benefit their people, to benefit their country. Is that something that you would be looking at, that you would be interested in? Because far too long, our resources have been mortgaged to other people. Our people are not benefiting. Our country is so small. We're not even a lot in our country that our resources can't even do something for our people. Our people are struggling. We have all these mineral resources that have been mortgaged to other people for concession agreement for this year, for that, and our people get nothing. What would be your policy, sir?
Thank you so much, madam. Such a brilliant question. I'll tell you this much. Don't even go far. Kenya, they have begun to change their policy. They did that in Botswana. They've begun to change their policy. They're doing that in Namibia. You're right. Lots of countries are beginning to look at that. Same as Tanzania, same as Angola, looking at those policies. When it comes to mining and mineral rights, like I said, we need to be able to use public resources. You see, the biggest excuse that current public officials use is that Liberians don't have the resources. My answer, think about it. You are in America, perhaps. There would have been no Elon Musk and car company if the American government did not subsidize the EV industry. There would have been no car EV company in China if the Chinese government did not put billions of dollars in it. We want these things to happen, but we don't want to be part of it. You want to open your shop in Liberia, come and open your shop. The only thing, the Ministry of Labor, the tax people will come to inspect and say, oh, you're not paying taxes, or you're not complying with your worker, but nobody calls you at any point in time and say what the problems are. Our policy, from my perspective, would be all of those mines will be given out, but it will be given out exclusively to Liberians. And now, if you want to take it over, you will have to have some Liberian partnership. So we'll be looking at not less than 50%. So if you have to bring in the equity, but in any case, our policy would be to use public resources to loan it to the private sector. So if we need, say, 100 million to develop a lot of those mines, we'll loan it to the Liberian businesses that will do that. Now, if the Liberian owner can go out, he can give out more than 50%. So in that way, it creates that equity participation that then benefits local development. And then one of the things we'll be looking at will be value addition. A lot of the countries that now do these things are looking at value addition. Take Bee Mountain. You produce the gold here, you send it out for refinement. Why haven't we asked them to do refinement? Why haven't we said, okay, let's set up a Liberian team that can do refinement? And like I said earlier, the argument then will be, oh, but Liberians don't have the capacity. I agree. We don't have the capacity. We can be the owners. Take Chinese. BYD and all of these companies you see in China. Do you know that they are currently using some of the big designers from Porsche, from Rolls-Royce, those big designers that are Europeans that used to work for those companies now live in China, work for the Chinese companies, but who own? They are employees. The owners are these people. America, where you live, is the biggest importer of talent. They import the talent, it works for the country, but the owners are American. So in every respect, that's what I want to do. The second thing I want to do, I'll tell you this much. You made me president today, I want to set up a money market and then onto a stock market. American businesses are able to raise money and compete like you. If you have $1,000, you don't need to go and put it in the bank. You can buy stocks just right on your computer. Just last year, like I told you, we did $4 billion US dollar. I think we did, is it more than 7 or 800 billion Liberian dollars on these mobile money platforms. If you had a money market, you could be able to leverage some of that money and businesses could have access to them. We just need to set up the regulatory infrastructure. These things are happening in Ghana, in Cote d'Ivoire, in Nigeria.
For a second, sir. I got to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry about that, but I just have to say that.
Go ahead.
These things you are saying is beautiful, it's good, but I know that there are powers that you have to fight. There are powers that you have to fight that want to still have more of our resources than you. Okay? And you know what I'm talking about. Those powers are there. Will you have the political will? Will you have the political
So, madam, I'll tell you what, we've heard that thing a long time ago. The population of Botswana is much smaller than that of Liberia. Botswana, right there in Southern Africa. Botswana have a smaller population, but Botswana took over her minerals a long time ago. The company that was running the diamond industry.
Because they had
but that's where the discipline coming. As a businessman, I understand what it is to negotiate for what is good for me and my shareholders. You see, so I come to the table with that clear knowledge. So the goal will not be to drive you. The goal will be to ensure that you benefit, but we also benefit. Because if you negotiate in ways that the investor is getting nothing, he's going to walk away. And there are many other countries you can take $1 to, but we want to make sure you make your bucks and we make our bucks. So Botswana, for example, De Beers, one of the largest diamond companies in the world, operates out of Botswana. Botswana then decided, they took two steps. The first step was, we need to rename this company De Botswana. So De Beers in Botswana formed De Botswana for the diamond, right? Then they took another step. De Beers was mining the diamond in Botswana and exporting it to London for refinement. Botswana said, refine it in London. That's a what? Almost how much? So I think more than $20 billion a value of a market, which was brought back to Botswana. So think about the Liberian government saying to Bee Mountain, instead of exporting raw gold, you must refine it. When you set up a refinery industry, it adds a whole new value because now you can export in those layers. Do I have what it takes? I have what it takes because my goal would not be to disadvantage the investor. My goal would be, and these investors know that. They know that if you refine here, it's just one layer of it. Cocoa and coffee. You can do a lot. You can add a lot of value locally. So yes, these things are very possible. But you see, the problem with these guys is that they don't know. So if you don't know, it's difficult for you to start. And even if you do show them, their mind are not that deep. These guys just want You come, you bring the envelope, they sign the paper, you just go and do your dirty work. From time to time, I need a favor, I call you. You know, that's not kind of that. If that's the reason why, then I shouldn't be challenging any president. I should be friends of every president that come to power, make my money, because hey, when you've made money, the last thing you want is for anything to destroy.
Thank you. Let me welcome Robert Garguah. Robert Garguah, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Jerome. It's great to be here. Welcome to the show, Mr. Freeman.
Great.
Welcome, sir.
Let me go to Anthony. Anthony, you have not asked any question. You are in studio. You represent Truth FM. Talk to us.
Yes, so thank you, Mr. Gayman. And again, let me say welcome to Mr. Simon Freeman. I mean, when I hear the name Simeon, what runs straight into my mind is Diego Simoni, football legend. But yeah, but let me say welcome again, Mr. Freeman. And I mean, you've said too many beautiful things, like Masera said. Too many beautiful things you've said, and you're not the only one that have said these beautiful things. I mean, we've heard the sweet talks, we've heard the sugar-coated statements from political leaders, from political actors that wants power, they wants to sit on the table to make Liberia's decision. But I have few major concerns, and one is from your sector, the private sector, and the rest of the others, the other two are from the public sector, where you want to be as a president. And the very first, before I ask the question, I have this clip I want to play is one of your clips, a recent interview that Closing Argument had with you, and you made a statement.
That's why the biggest investment we had is up to $1 billion worth of drugs that they are facilitating and bringing in. But you see what we're doing? We're not doing drug business. This is serious business. There's a lot of money. This is serious commitment.
No volume?
No volume.
No, we got it.
Oh, we got it.
No, I heard it.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Well,
that's why the biggest investment we had is up to $1 billion worth of drugs that they are facilitating and bringing in. But you see what we're doing? We're not doing drug business. This is serious business. There's a lot of money. This is serious commitment.
Yeah, so that's your clip, and it brings me to the question. You are contesting, or you will be contesting. I mean, a few years from now, to Liberia's presidency. You want to hit the executive mansion. You want to be the first man in the country. You want to oversee Liberia's economic development. You want to make sure that the country gets on the trajectory that, I mean, when foreign partners or foreign countries see, they get attracted to investing their money in the economy. And that's the reason why you said, I'm very sure that you don't want to have a country, or you don't want to be a president for a country that's going to be a drug, trafficking center. Like all the other panelists have asked, what different, Mr. Freeman, are you bringing to the Liberian presidency that, Joseph Walker is not doing, George Weah did not do, Elaine Johnson did not do, Charles Taylor and the rest of the other presidents did not do? What significantly is in your cupboard as the political leader of the MPC that you intend to do to making sure the economy grows and Liberians feel the impact? That's one. The next one is, as a businessman and a political leader, do you believe that the Walker administration has an economic strategy capable of transforming Liberia, or are we simply celebrating GDP numbers while the average Liberians remains economically trapped? That's my second question. And the last question is, you are heading DSTV in Liberia, like Mr. Nagbe asked. You are heading DSTV in Liberia, and you want to be president. Again, Mr. Freeman, there are very common things in Liberia, in Liberian typical politics, that when Liberians seize or they fuse, they kick you out the process. They don't give you attention. And one of them is the DSTV issue. This is a very simple question. DSTV makes money for Liberians. Liberians subscribe every single day to DSTV. Why is it that Liberian content are not being promoted on DSTV? You don't see Liberian film. You don't see, typical Liberian African movies. You don't see Liberian music being promoted. Journalists, you don't see, production for Liberians being promoted on DSTV. Could you literally explain to us, whether there are plans in your pocket to making sure that, DSTV transcends from not promoting Liberian contents, even though they operate in Liberia. If you come in Liberia now, which of course you are, all the houses that has DSTV, and there's a female in that house, you notice that they're watching people on a job. But that's not Liberian content. How are you making sure that, your company, promote Liberian content, make sure that Liberia, because you want to be president for a country that you're from. And if you don't promote the content on your platform, how do you expect the people to vote you? How do you expect them to impose or repose their trust in you? To say, oh, when Mr. Freeman becomes president, we're sure that, he's going to sell Liberia on the global market to making sure that people get attracted.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you so much, Mr. Anthony. Those are very brilliant questions. So I'll start with the last one, and I will give you history like I usually do. You know, people sit down and blame other people for their problems. When you elect the wrong actors, you get that outcome. Let's take Liberian content. Do you know the #1 reason why Liberian film have not made it to the DSTV platform? The quality of the content. The people that watch DSTV, like you say, pay subscription. The subscription they pay, they don't just want to watch anything. Most of the contents, the Liberian films are not quite digital. We're trying to set up a studio at the DSTV office. So you see that tall 7-story building that was built to accommodate that as well. So we're going to be investing in the various types of equipment that's going to produce good quality movie. As I speak to you, as of last week, we had the content team, because our teams are based in different countries. They came from Kenya. They had discussion with Spoon FM, the Spoon Network. They had discussion with ELBC. So far, we've determined that ELBC is the only infrastructure that may be content ready, but they don't have the capacity. So we've discussed with them the type of equipment, even though the ELBC infrastructure is not digital, though by 2015, the African Broadcasting, I think, infrastructure had ordered that every TV station on the African continent be digital, because then you consume a lot less space, but we don't have that. But again, there is a technology, an encoder that will be able to convert that non-digital content into a digital platform to uplink them to our infrastructure. So right now we're working with ELBC to ensure that that is the case. When we develop the other capacity, we have the type of machinery. But in Nigeria, you're talking about in Ghana, it was private Nigerians that invested in the movie industry. So Mr. Anthony and Mr. Gayman and Madam Dopoh gets together and say, okay, look, we have $75,000, we have $100,000. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take this storyline, develop it, and invest in this movie. So you are basically the financier. Same thing you see happening in America. You're basically the financiers of the movie, and the revenue from the movie come back to you, even though you're not necessarily acting in that movie. So Nigerians invested in the content that today you see you buy one CD that has up to 100, 200 Nigerian movie on it, goes for cheap. And if you bought one Liberian movie, it's a lot more expensive. So you see the guys have managed to invest in that infrastructure. Now let's look at Big Brother. Big Brother, to run it, is not cheap. All of that infrastructure, the channel platform, everything costs hundreds of millions of dollars. The Big Brother that you see running, the reason why is run heavily in Nigeria, not necessarily in Ghana or many of the other West African countries, Because Nigerian businesses support it. So Nigerian businesses spend hundreds of millions of dollars on advertisement. You notice as you watch that Big Brother, every minute there will be some kind of advert for some kind of product. So those advertisements are those products pay for the content. You know, sadly, our economy, we've not invested significantly in our economy to benefit from certain outcome. And so it's going to take some time in terms of that. But if we had governmental support in those directions, it's going to help. Why do you think stations in Ghana grow massively? They're able to employ the right skills. Stations in Liberia have serious capacity issues because, again, you're not even making money. I don't see any radio station in Liberia that probably makes about $200,000-300,000 US a year. But that's something one station in Ghana makes per month. There are stations in Nigeria that makes about $2 million, $3 million a month. You know, so those structures need to be developed, and you need either private sector participation or you need public resources pumped into that. So just to be brief on that question, our first step is to get ELBC online, and that's not going to be the first. We want to work with other television stations that have that capacity and link them up to the platform, so at least we have 1 or 2 content. But my ultimate goal is to look beyond DSTV. The reason why we're setting up that infrastructure at the DSTV office is to develop Liberian content that can be aired on Netflix, that can be aired on Hulu, on HBO Max, on Amazon Prime. So I'm looking at the bigger movie infrastructure market rather than just the DSTV platform. So the purpose of our infrastructure is to go beyond that, which is a project undertaken by ourselves and not necessarily multi-choice. The other one you talked about, many people have said beautiful things. Basman, I'm a businessman. If I open any of my businesses and the HR people brought a man to me that have no experience in that industry, let's say we spend $5 million to set up a business, and you have not even managed $50,000 before, and they brought you clearly don't qualify to be the head of that infrastructure because you bring nothing to the table. We gave Liberia to people that have no capacity to run it. But then we say, everybody have said this before. No, that's not true. You know, what we are saying is so different. That's why you see every step of the way we give examples. We tell you that it's happening in this country. So I think, Mr. Anthony, you're very much outspoken. Join me, join the MPC drive. Let's make this thing work. For example, CNN, Fox News. She's in America. Fox News is Republican. CNN is Democrat. You know, MSNBC is Democrat. But in Liberia, you talk to a journalist and say, oh, I'm neutral. I'm supposed to be a journalist.
Mr. Simon on recruit again?
Eh?
I said, Mr. Simon from on recruit again.
That's his job.
But you talk to General Labra, so I'm a journalist. I can't get involved in politics. But then when the price of rice go up, the journalists suffer. The price of rent goes up, the journalists suffer. Tuition have risen, journalists suffer. Transportation, everything that happens in the economy, journalists suffer. You go to the market and you quarrel the market with, how chicken feed price go up? But then you journalists are saying nothing. At CNN, there are journalists at CNN that spend up to $300,000 of the personal money contribution to the candidate. I think let's learn that from the West and let's support these kinds of infrastructure. Be the journalists that sit on air and say, look, I've listened to Mr. Freeman. I've had great conversations with him. This guy can really transform this country. Place that argument. Be a part of the change process. I always say to my colleagues, influence the outcome that you envisage. Let's be part of that drive. So together we can change the process. Your third and final point was in midway. You talked about, what was that? Okay, the audio you play that I talk about how Boyka had done this. But Bassman, you live in Liberia now. What do we see? Drugs all over the place. Kush, they say Kush have increased by about 80%. Many other types of drug, marijuana, cocaine. Since I've been living in Liberia, never at any point have I seen this. And let me tell you something about businesses. Just from a business perspective, you see the drug laws? What you caught is just the tip of the iceberg. No businessman is going to pack so much of a cargo in one country if he doesn't have the guarantees. So that means they've been moving that thing out of Liberia for so long, and now that's just the leftover that was caught. Those guys are targeting the European markets, of course. They're not targeting the American market. So that's why you see the Europeans are pressing and pressing very hard. So they've been storing that, and that thing been leaving from here. They took over the airport, they took over the seaport, and we're not doing much. You know, if you saw a company, look, there is a guy, some of you guys that are older, you remember Representative Verdier in the dual government. He went to America, they arrested him with drugs. He said, oh, this Nigerian woman gave me the drug. They brought him to you and I think once you are in possession of the drug, we hold you. The company that was in possession, but now we should have revoked that company registration. We should have changed them, but the company still processes cargo at the airport, and we grab the company and say, oh, you are conveyed. Of course, this guy is going to walk away. He's going to walk because he's not the owner. The guy that was in prison, we've done nothing about that. So Boyka is just talking. Apparently, when the Europeans and Americans press him a little bit, then what happens? He come and make some speech. We don't want speeches. Mr. President took picture with a guy who is alleged to be a drug dealer, and up to the guy had his telephone with him. You have not found out who brought that guy in my presence and taking action. So the corridor of the president is infested, and apparently he's too embarrassed to admit that. That's why we say the biggest investment he's attracted it's you know has been drugs, and so we hold him for that, and we hold him responsible. And let's be frank, Boyka is 80-something years old. That man is tired, boss man. He's tired. To be president is serious work. The man tired. 80-something years old. To be president is serious work. You tell Boyka right now, he probably sleeping. It's serious. Those of us who are business people understand these things. These things are serious work. What you expect one 80-something year old man? What you gonna look? What's happening in Kamara? Paul Biya and the man get there, he just go home and sleep. He stays out of the country for months, you know. And that's the thing. What do we really want out of Boyka? We have to get serious. So those who support him, we don't condemn you, but we're saying it's time for us to move forward. That mistake, let's move past it and go on to something that works. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let me go to Robert Garguah. Robert Garguah, it's your turn. Thank you for being so patient.
Absolutely, thank you. I've been listening into the conversation, fascinating conversation.
Another Basa man. I mean, and look at today.
A lot of this show is dominated by Basa and crew people.
Basa country is one of the biggest continents in the world. But listen, let's start with where you left off. Boyka is 80-something years old, and I stand corrected. So correct me. I think you're currently 66, 67 years old. And so 2029, you could be close to your 70s. And so here's the question I want to ask you. Speaking of age, because I think I presume that you agree or you argue that with the older one gets productivity declines, he's tired, he needs to retire. So with 2029, would that be your last run for president?
Well, thank you for being magnanimous. People look at me and say I'm in my 40s. I'm younger than that. I'm actually in my very early 60s, so I'm younger than that. I'm not that old, so thanks for adding some years. I think you want to share some of your age, but that's all right. I'll let you have yours. Thank you for being generous. Look, Mr. Garguah, the thing is, you want to be able to see energy. That's what we want to take to the mansion. We want to take vision to the mansion. We want to take drive. And we want us to work together. The biggest challenge I see, the people that are very intelligent, you know what to say to you? Oh, I'm not interested in politics. And that's what you guys say. But then you get affected by it. You live in America, but whole day some relative or you're calling, the other one school fees, and then you have to be hustling for yourself and hustle for them and all that. So I think what we want to do, we put ourselves forward, work with us so we can help change our country, Mr. Garguah. And I think you would do that. You're a very intelligent man. You're a very great man.
So just go back. Was I wrong? So you wasn't born in 1960s?
No, I wasn't born in 1960.
Oh, really?
No.
So but how old are you, if you don't mind? How old are you?
Well, we're not discussing my age, but I'm in my early 60s.
I was born in 1960, and I got him about 3 years.
So he's 3
Right.
years old. Okay.
Yeah.
But listen.
But I was born December 20. I was born December 25, though. So the next time you see December 25, just remember me and send me a happy birthday.
But listen. I don't know what it is. Probably you've ran for office before, so you've probably done your due diligence on this matter. Just interacting with voters. But what is your own take? What is your perspective on this issue that we face with voters? Some have said, well, it's the lack of voters education and so forth and so on. People have different reasons why. But history and record will show that uh, uh, Liberians have, for the most part, rejected businessmen and women, people that are in the private sector. And I often find myself asking why, like unlike other countries where you have lawyers, professional career lawyers, who have established law firms and been successful in their area of professions. You have doctors. You have entrepreneurs. These are characteristics that you often see making the respective cases for constituencies and things in other countries. People that are very successful. In Liberia is different. You have a lot of career politicians, and this is not to be condescending, but the facts is the facts. And you have a lot of people who have struggled their whole life, people that are relatively poor, right? They are elected senators, representatives, and they are elected in offices. What do you think needs to change?
So the first thing. Oh, sorry. I thought you had done. You were done. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
So, Mr. Garguah, the first thing that needs to change, what you see in America is that the intellectual class plays a major role in politics. Agree?
Absolutely.
So the thing is that people like you and of your type say politics is not your thing, and probably you're more comfortable with the interviews and what have you. Look, people like you need to play a major part. Liberians in the diaspora need to engage, talk with each other, and say, look, we need to form a consensus on who we're going to support. I'm sure that's not too difficult of an argument or discussion. And then people in the diaspora need to influence the outcome they envisage, support it, so the outcome we get for our country is exactly what we want. We can only put our feet forward and say we want to be, but we can't change everything. Now, if most of the people that have no real vision are able to bring the not so smart guys together, they form one big structure, they make the loudest noise, we're going to have them dominating our social, political, social, economic infrastructure for a long time. It's about time that people like you, myself, like-minded people influence the outcome. Politics is such that what you put in is what you get. If you just sit on the fence, it's not going to happen. I was just telling Mr. Anthony, Fox News, like them or hate them, they are Republican to the core. They make it clear and they support that. CNN, MSNBC, they made it very clear and they support that. In our case, many times people say, oh, I will just leave it to these guys. You leave the heat to us. And many of the people that have to vote, Mr. Garguah, you're very eloquent, you're intelligent. Your vote is equivalent to one Zogo vote. One Zogo vote nullifies your vote. 2 Zogos closes and kills your vote. So if 10 Zogos that don't understand these issues vote for one guy that is a crook because he buys them shoes or buys them clothes, your vote has been dominated. So what we need to do, people like you working together with people like us, need to provide that education. In America, you have different super PACs. They come together, they put their money together. Closing argument will say, or maybe the Basel group in America, 20 of them will say, let's save $5 every month so that in 12 months, we can get 100,000 and we support one candidate. That's what you call the different election groups. You talk about APAC that is now so powerful. They pump in money. They influence the outcome. So a small country, Israel, is so powerful in America because they influence the outcome. And I think we need to learn from them and do so much, Mr. Garguah, so we can influence this outcome. Or else, we're not going to change anything.
Last question. I asked Mr. Cummings this question when he visited us a few days ago. And so everything we just talk about, I don't like to think it's wishful thinking. I think it's feasible. I think it's possible. I think a lot of work needs to be done. But let's look at the reality. The reality is we're not going to have a debate about the creation of job and who is best fit to lead that narrative or to lead that conversation, because the economy has been one of Liberia's issue, right? How do we expand the private sector and make government smarter and expand the private sector, right? How do we make it more competitive and all that stuff like that? We're not going to talk about who has a plan to strengthen the health sector, who has a plan for education. I think those are all serious issues that should determine who wins an election. So hopefully one day we are having those conversations, we are having debate about those conversations, and we are voting on those particular issues. But the reality is, come 2029, while it is true that some Liberians are concerned about the economy, why it is true that parents can say we are suffering, mom and pop shops are struggling, and they can't get loan. Why these issues still exist, the reality remains that the political party with the most popularity, or the candidate with the most popularity, more than likely stirred, that whatever. So CDC is one of the most popular political parties out there, opposition, and I saw you at the recent event. Realistically, you guys have to strategically figure out the closest way or the best path to get into the executive mansion. Are you thinking about a collaboration that that will consist of this consensus with regards to change, even if that meant, either you've been a VP candidate or taking up some position in the government, or a strategy that says, how do we get closer to the executive mansion so that after 2029, when you no longer have Boaka, you no longer have Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, you no longer have George Weah, then we're talking about some new leaders. What is your thought on that? And what kind of plans are your party making to ensure that there's some sort of healthy collaboration realistically moving up to 2029?
I think Grand Jita set the stage. We drove a couple of hours from Monrovia to Zouadrille to celebrate the CDC establishment, which was a very good drive. We're talking, we're very open. You're very right. We can always have a discussion about the jobs and all of the other issues, but in the end, the most popular candidate will win. But you also do agree that there is sufficient time. The next, you have 2027 and 28, 2 years, where most of the efforts many other people are making will begin to bear fruit. And we're doing quite a lot. I can tell you, I don't know what other parties are doing, but we're doing quite a lot. And we think that when we get to that point, we may be a major factor. Are we open to partnering? We're very open. We've said that over what we've said in Grand Jita, that there are times egos will have to be bent. There are times pride will have to be submerged for the good of our country, and we have to face up to reality. Are we open? Yes, but are we going to just go into a partnership with nothing? No. So now we have to work aggressively so that even if you are part of a partnership, then you're taking something to that table.
Thank you, Mr. Jerome. Go ahead.
Excellent. Now let's go to foreign policy. Let's say we got about 20 more minutes here. You've been with us for almost 3 hours. We are grateful for a professor as you are, relaxed, well versed in your area. We now go to foreign policy. When this government began, the thing was that Liberia was so low at the international totem pole. And now we are going to elevate Liberia's image. There may be issue of being on the Security Council, that Liberia's image was being this, and then all of a sudden, everything came crashing down with drugs and you name it. So that image of Liberia that they wanted to elevate, which they use as a trump card, one of the trump cards for coming to power, no longer exists. So let's talk about your own. Let's talk about your own international perspective. You went to a beautiful school in Colorado. I was there. I know the campus. Talk to us about how are you going to deal with Uncle Sam, because it looks like that is one particular issue that Liberia, it's a hurdle that we just can't. How, in the Bassa tradition, they say every porcupine had to, they have to live together. They all got spine, right? So they gingerly come together to make babies, so nobody gets hurt. Why is it that we are always getting hurt at this? And in fact, there was a debate the other day where the Dutchman said we were colonized. So this thing about we were never colonized and we are independent, it's a facade. So talk to us how you're going to get us out of this conundrum. Someday we feel like independent country. Yesterday, the foreign minister said she had to call the United States to bring the DEA to help us out to do this. So which is which? Are we independent? Are we colonized? Because it looks like we can't extricate ourselves. So let's talk about your foreign policy here.
So the thing is that, let's compare the issue of foreign policy to the issue of partnerships, right? When you go into a partnership, you have to take something to the table, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a merger, you have to take something to the table. No politician, no past leader of Liberia have associated with Liberia in many ways, and I have been in between the scissors with much of the foreign policy. I will say this to you. Do you know that when the USAID was functioning, they spent hundreds of millions of US dollar on Liberia every year, in various sectors, health, different sectors. No American political leader will tell you we don't want Liberia to develop. All these things are untrue. The earliest American investment you had was Firestone. I'm sure we all remember Firestone. And what happened with Firestone? Firestone is still here. You saw Madame Seleke, who was supposedly an American creation, call the Firestone leader on public camera, challenging them and telling them that the guys were living in hot and they needed to build something much better. And Firestone started to do that. The excuse that we're not prospering because America doesn't want us to, it's not true. Listen, foreign policy has to be shaped by domestic policy. Do we have a domestic program? No. Do we have a domestic policy? No. So my foreign policy, bossman, would be my domestic policy. My domestic policy would be one. I want to make sure that Liberians, most of what they consume, they manufacture. Through manufacturing, we create the jobs that we need to create. When I do get on a plane, I'm not going to beg another foreign leader. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be taking Liberian businesses, Liberian rice manufacturers, Liberian agro product, developers, Liberian real estate developers, Liberian manufacturers in different sectors, and go to Cote d'Ivoire, go to Ghana, go to Nigeria, go to Sierra Leone, look for market. When I get into Europe, I'm taking those people so they can find their way to make sure our products get there. When you see the Chinese president travel, that's what he does. When you see the American president travel to China the other day, was about business. The French president does that. So my foreign policy has to be shaped by my domestic policy. And it's the same as life. Your relationship with the outside world is shaped by your goals, Mr. Gayman. It's not shaped by what the outside world wants. So that picture that somebody is going to tell us what to do is not true. What's happening in Barbados? Smaller population than Liberia. They've got oil and they've been able to make a lot of changes. So we have to be realistic about these stories that are peddled. I mean that are peddled, and we tend to embrace them. That's not true. So my foreign policy will shape my my external policy. Would I have spent millions of dollars to get a Security Council seat? No. One of the things I would like to do would be this reciprocity. I want to strengthen Liberian policy. I will ask my foreign minister to sign Liberian passport on as many countries as possible, and I will open Liberia to visa-free travel. So in that way, we will be able to visit a lot of these other big countries with a Liberian passport and make it very powerful. The truth is, our presidents say A, B, C, D, which is not true. For example, take the Ghana's road. We had to ask the Japanese to build that road. Could we not have built the road? Yes, we could have. What do we really spend our revenue on? But these are the arguments I'm making. Have you looked at our budget, look at recurrent? Have you looked at how much money we spend on salaries? Have you looked at how much money we spend every year? We don't even have a straight car policy. Every year we buy a car for one minister. And so we're spending more than $100 and something million of our money every year just on non-financial expense. Then the recurrent is another couple of hundreds of millions. All these different institutions. You have a whole ministry called Ministry of Information. The only thing it does is supposed to respond to political leaders. And then you have a press secretary to the office of the president. We're not being serious. So Senior Framer is saying, look, we cut down on those costs. When we cut down on those costs, we develop our country, then we will look good. When you live in a neighborhood, it's not about how your neighbors see you. Your neighbor will judge you from where you live. You fix up your house, it's clean, you renovate it, it looks decent, you send your children to good school, and they say, Mr. Gayman, oh, Madam Dopoh, these are serious people in society. And nobody respects us because what do we have domestically? Nothing. So the truth is, that's why I need to focus internally. My trips will be to Grand Jide, to River G, to Sino, to have a clear appreciation of challenges and opportunities. I don't know when was the last time you drove outside Monrovia, Busman. But when you're driving, all you see is forests. Nothing. Those forests are farmland that you can create so much opportunity for our people. So I want domestic policy to shape foreign policy. It doesn't mean America wouldn't come and say, oh, vote for this or vote for that. But that's an external vote. America didn't say, don't create jobs for your young people. If America was saying that to you, America would not be spending hundreds of millions of dollars on health. But we may spend the money. Do you know how much we've allotted out of this $1.2 billion to buy drugs for the entire country? $4.5 million. Did you know that? Check the budget. Do you know how much we've allotted for curriculum development? $20,000 US. Meanwhile, Boyka has $1.3 million for operational expense. We're not serious. But these are not things people want to discuss. And we spend millions of dollars on one foreign minister that's running all over the place, all Liberia. What we really need, Bossman, domestic policy to shape external policy. Let's look good. Simeon Freeman goes around, he's respected and taken seriously because he has the equity and the asset to back it. That's what Liberia should be like. Business people don't come talking big if they have nothing. So we must develop our country, then that's going to impact foreign policy. Then people will call us. The reason why those days people came to Liberia, Nelson Mandela, Liberian passport, Ghanaians, we have helped them to get in. Why do you think we have Organization of African Unity meeting in San Nicolas that nobody knows on the African continent? We found the OAU through Topman because those days, Liberia was a respected country. So then nobody respects us. Thanks to Boyka, we are Kush and cocaine nation. So my foreign policy will be shaped, Mr. Gayman, by domestic policy. We need to make it look good for whom. And you know that.
Actually, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you are hearing it from the expert. If you want to look good on the outside, You gotta look good on the inside. You cannot be a pretty boy and a pretty girl on the outside and your room is dirty. No,
Thank you.
do that. Let me go to Victor. Victor, now you and I have been on this trail for a very long time when it comes to international topics. Let's talk a little bit about foreign policy in the last 10 minutes that we have, about foreign policy to our chief here. Foreign policy, how do the international people look at us? Or what should we project? What do we want them to see?
I think based on all that he has said, I really don't think I have anything on that. I think he's already addressed those. My two questions are this. One, and this is by one of our former panelists here, Alex Jones. He wants to know, how did you get your start? My own personal question is, you're a businessman. What is your take on this brown top debate that's going on in Liberia?
You invest in brown top.
Because the women are not protesting. They say they want their part of side of brown top, and I think they have it right.
So then there's a gap. We should do green top. Somebody
that might be the women's.
Yeah, the women.
But it's sad. Instead of our society and the young people discussing competitiveness, the reason why in America discuss individuals. You go to American schools, young people want to be like Elon Musk. Young people want to be like Mark Zuckerberg. Young people want to be like Warren Buffett. They want to be rich like that. And there are many other examples. In Liberia, the young people want to be ministers. They want to be representatives. Those days when I was going to school, when they actually say, oh, I want to be a businessman, I want to be a lawyer or doctor. Now our young people want to be that. Those are the conversations we have in Boston. The conversation we have is that it's not cheap. Now we're talking about sexuality, drink brown top for better functionality and those kinds of things. It's funny though, but those are the kinds of discussions our society is now engulfing. And they are symptoms of the bigger problem. And I think it's serious. I think clearly we need to keep our young people busy, and time is not on our side. When now you come to Monrovia, all over the place, Atai shop. I know Simeon Freeman, like I used to, like I say to them, you will look for Atai shop with flashlight during the day and you won't find it. Because I'm gonna keep you busy. If you got job to do, what are you doing going to do to an Atai shop? So today, young people will tell you, say, let's compare notes. Put money together to buy Le Kobo. If you have a job and you have a mortgage, so do you know why when a Liberian man leave from here and go to America, he gets serious? That's when you got bills to pay. I see a friend of mine, it's very good, he's a relative, good brother. This guy has a big mouth. When it's raining in Liberia, you call that boy, you say, look, my man, it's raining. My boss knows I'm not going to work. I entered the US. I should have seen him that evening. This is about I left New York for some board meetings, and I called him that day. This was like about 10 o'clock, and then I said, my man, where are you? He said, I'm at work. I said, but it's snowing like hell. Usually in Liberia, you will say you won't go to work. He said, this place, I've got bills to pay. People have bills to pay. But here, people have no real bills to pay. You don't have a mortgage. You don't have a car loan. You don't have no credit infrastructure on the African continent. Few countries, South Africa, will give you a 30 years credit for home. We haven't established those infrastructure. So the young people find themselves drawn up and caught up in those things. If you post nonsense online, you get thousands of likes. You post serious things, nobody likes it. And that's the society we have. And it's serious. And these are things we're supposed to be discussing. On the other aspect, you talked about, what was that? How I started up. It's been a long journey. Graduated, my first thing I dropped out of 9th grade. My mother didn't have it anymore. So I was out of school for about 2 years. And then I got a sister by my foster grandmother. Then I went to LTR. And there I graduated. After that, I had to hustle on my own. It was difficult, but I started to sell. The olden time wheeler market we used to have, where you fix the little long box, then you put the rope around your neck. So I hustled with that quite a lot. I saved a lot of money over a couple of years. I remember at one point I stayed at the back of where Unity Party office is in Congo Town, and I used to walk to town. I'll tell you one story that I've told a lot of young people that's striking. So I used to walk to town that day. You know, if you know Monrovia very well, I walk from that place. You walk through where you have Peace Island now. You walk through that Congo Town Bell. You hit the old road. They used to have the Swiss Embassy right behind there, somewhere on the back of the old road. Then you pass the ACS, you know, American Cooperative School. You go through that place. You hit where Calondo has its hotel there. Right in the back there, you hit the Effie, you hit Cinco. You just, you know, counting your pool. And those days you see anybody and they say, oh, where are you going? You just say, I'm going right here, because you don't want to tell a man you're walking from Congo Town all the way to Broad Street. You know, but it was tight. So I remember this day I had gone to my friend's office. He was Deputy Minister of Commerce, Deputy Minister of one of these ministries. I don't want to be specific, so I don't expose his name. I remember he had told me, I went there severally, I couldn't see the guy. But then this day he saw me and told me I should come see him on Friday. When I went to see him, this guy, those days, he took $500 and gave it to me. Those days, the rate was 2 to 1. He gave me the money, and I rejected it, even though I didn't have money to eat, and I was going to walk back. And the guy said, "No, take the money." I said, "No, I want you to give me a deal. I came here so you can find me a business opportunity, so I can do something. I don't want to start taking money from your office." The guy was surprised. And he told me, "No, I will leave the money with you." I said, "No, I'm not going to take the money." I left the money. And when I got outside, the secretary said, "But Mr. Freeman, things tight on you. Why you don't want to take the money?" I said, "Look, there are two groups of people that come to this man's office. One group to do business, the other group to beg. If I join the begging group, I will not have access to him. So I want to have access to this man. Access to him means I can have continuous access to opportunities. So I don't want to join the begging group." The woman sat down for a long time. She was like, "Wow, that's so smart." So I left. About a month later, this guy formed me a deal for me to supply some carpet somewhere. I didn't even have the carpet. I went to one guy who knew me very well. I took the carpet. I did the job. When I got the money, I paid him back. Then I gave him a small commission. I gave him a small commission on the carpet. And I did those kinds of small stuff until I eventually raised some money. And then I started to sell live cows. So I used to go to, what's the place name? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I used to go to Dahn to buy the cows to bring it to Liberia through the slaughterhouse. And then what happened was that when I went to Dahn, I found out the guys in Dahn were buying the cows from Bobo Dioulasso. You know, Bobo Dioulasso is the second largest city in Burkina Faso. You have Ouagadougou, the capital, and then you have Bobo Dioulasso. And then there is another place called Tengelela. It's at the Mali-Ivorian border. So the guys in Dahn were going that far to buy the live cows. So I decided to go there. But you know, just by doing that, all I thought I was just doing a business case. The cow laws in Dahn got really angry that a Liberian man will come, instead of buying from them to take to Liberia, he wanted to go to the same source as the guys in Dahn. So you know what they did? They started to frustrate me. They made sure I couldn't get a truck out of Dahn, and I could not pass the checkpoint, you know, the gendarmerie. I couldn't pass them to come to Loguato. I said, okay, but that shouldn't be a problem. I got one fuller man. I pay him well. And he walked the cows from, every time I came from Tengelela, I would drop the cows. He would walk the cow to Loguato. I would get a truck from Monrovia camp and move my cow. So at no time they knew how I was moving the cow anyway, because the guys would walk the cow. I had a second problem. Then, you know, the cow industry is dominated heavily by the Fuller community in Liberia. And then they started being segregative. They didn't want to take my cows because I was bringing too much and doing too much. So I went to Mali and brought in some Fuller people to sell my cows. So I did a deal with the marketing association. I put the Fuller guys in the shop. Now they just had to sell my cow. Some of the Fuller people got together and called me and said, "Are you sure you're a Liberian?" I said, "Yeah, I'm a Liberian. What makes you think I'm not?" But then they found out that I didn't need them anymore. So I brought my cows and I was selling them. But it's been a tough process going up. The first time I remember we entered Ghana, we lost so much money. And then we made so much progress. Today, we have a 75-acre land that we trying to develop, one of the biggest resort in Ghana, that we have a golf course, a polo club, fisheries, all these things. I know the next argument, somebody will say, why are you not doing it in Liberia? The number of foreigners going to Ghana is a lot more than Liberia. I'm doing purely business. There are things I can do in Liberia. There are things I can't do. For those who don't know, I also have a hotel, the biggest hotel here anyway. So yes, nobody can say we're not doing that here. So my upbringing and my coming to where I am has been a very, very difficult journey, very tough. But I pray a lot, and God has been good to me. And so I do a lot of public speaking. We speak to a lot of executives, and we encourage people to make the to influence the outcomes that they envisage. I hope I was able to answer your question adequately.
Yeah, Mr. Freeman, thank you.
One minute.
Thank you very much. You did. Thank you.
One minute. Your name and where you calling from? Hold on 1 minute here. Go ahead. Your name, where you calling from?
My name is Kehleboe Gongloe. Mr. Freeman, how you doing, my good friend?
Hey, Bossman, what's up? We met in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah. But I didn't have the time to. I really wanted to come and see you, but it was not possible.
Where are you? Are you in Liberia?
Yeah. I just came by last week.
Oh, okay, but let's just give your number so I can call you. I'm here so I can see you before I travel.
Oh no, sir, I returned already. I returned.
Oh, okay. But we can talk. We can talk though. We can talk off the phone.
The number you gave me, I still have the number.
Yeah, just send me a text on that number, then I'll call you, sir.
Okay. But I have something I want to just pick your brain on. I listened to
Please
you.
go. Please shoot.
I'm quite impressed with Mr. Freeman. Mr. Freeman innovation. He's a very innovative, challenging person. And I've been following him as far back as when many people demand was with you.
Right.
2011, you started the progressive movement for progressive change. I mean, your ideas of industrializing the country as a way of spurring economic growth and creating jobs. I mean, it's a very attractive idea. Excuse me. But here is the question I have for you. There's something in our politics that I want you to really to pick your brain on this, because I don't see you involved in it. During We Are Town, there were a lot of demonstrations. And even during Dopoh, there were a lot of demonstrations. And people protest as a constitutional right, It's right for people to protest, to demand what they want. That means they are motivated, they are convicted by what they want. And so they go to make a government understand what they want. But many of the protests, I don't see you associated with it. Whether it was under We Are, I don't hear your political party in the yes, I've heard you defend the protester right, but I'm not even seeing you. Maybe you are, and you can correct me on this, to say, oh, there is a protest tomorrow, for example, in this cocaine case, to say, hey, the Student Unification Party, you are protesting against the government handling of the cocaine issue. I'm joining that protest tomorrow. I mean, like one of the guys that people refer to all of the time, the late Nelson Mandela, with all his faults that I can also criticize him on all of things. But when it was time to start the armed resistance as leader of the ANC, he shot the first gun. He said, I'm not going to let anyone do it. I will do it. He took the first giant step. So I like to see maybe days will come where our progressive political ideas like you, we can make the change just by talking, because I believe the guys who have stolen enough money in the country are so influential, have lied so much, and because they have lied, the people believe them because the lies have not been challenged. I bet if you even contest with Thomas Fala maybe in Monrovia today, you might beat him, but or maybe he might beat you, or you will come close. It will be a tough challenge for someone like Thomas Fala. The guy who worked is only from public service, not our innovation. Not, he has not created anything to have patent for it. Nothing. If you check our economy, those that will consider them wealthy people in Liberia, those who have not worked in government like you can count them probably on one hand. There will not be more than 5. But those that are considered millionaires or wealthy are all government people. And for that matter, a lot of them are from the legislature. So will you consider change? What is your view on protest? Is it that you don't just let protest, or what is it?
No, we don't have a problem, Mr. Gongloe, with protest, especially if the protest is right. And you know, you said some very salient things, and we probably have not thought about that. We will think about that and see how it fits into our own objectives. So yes, you've made some very, very brilliant points, and we take that under advisement, and we'll discuss with our team to see how we can probably be more physically visible in the future.
Great.
So yeah, thanks, Mr. Freeman. I was
trying to real quick, because it's 3 hours. We gotta let him go. Go ahead.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah. So, like I said, I admire your success, your personal achievement. Hopefully, that can be well translated to politics, because it's different from personal business and stuff like that. But real quick, you seem to live a very classic lifestyle, which of course you can afford, right? You're a businessman, you invest in a certain thing. The last time you're on one of the OK FM, you're making a display about your watch, how much it costs, and so on and so forth. Now you're asking to be a president of the Republic of Liberia, which is your right to ask, right? I got a question. My question is this: should you become president of Liberia today, what will you do with your private businesses so that you don't have conflict of interest? That, you know, will you shut the businesses down? Will you send it out? How will you do so you don't have conflict of interest? Meanwhile, since you got interested in this kind of lifestyle, like expensive and value and stuff like that, as president, where you may not be making as much as you're making now, how are you expecting to compensate this lifestyle of yours that you so, on display, you like, and which is not a bad thing. If I were you, I'll be doing more than you. How will you differentiate? Hey, I'm a president now. This is people's fund. The differentiate of government money from your personal lifestyle, and how will you continue your business without public conflict of interest?
So, Mr. Ture, thank you. That's a very brilliant question. Equity can be divested, right? So, of course, you can divest yourself of those equities. And when you say inexpensive lifestyle, yeah, we invest differently. You see maybe a watch as a thing to bluff with, but I see a watch as, an equity that can be easily disposed of. So, for example, you go and buy an apartment or a house for $400,000. Over the next 10 years or 20 years of the ownership of that house, you'll probably spend about $200,000. I go and buy a watch for $400,000. Over the next 10 years, that watch value increases to more than $200,000. So, being wealthy is about being a smart investor. So, but if I went broke, even though I paid $400,000 and that watch value have risen to, say, $800,000, I can go to a pawn shop and easily walk away with $500,000 to $600,000. Meanwhile, if you wanted to sell that house, it will probably take you a year down the road. So you see, from a business perspective, we invest smartly. Having said that, it's easy to divest yourself. You have a president now in America that easily divested himself of his business. You can liquidate your equity, or you can open a trust. These things happen. I'm blessed. My daughter went to some of the best schools. She went to Virginia Tech, Carnegie Mellon. She was working with Deloitte. She's now back. She's also helping to now run the business. So yeah, she's somebody we pass on. We also own an LLC in America, and that LLC is run by my son. And so I have a lot of people that have capacity to take over. And so when I get into the mansion, how much do I spend personally? As a person, not much. My biggest thing is food, and my food is just easy. I don't eat some of the most flamboyant food. My food is dry rice. Trust me, you give me dry rice, you bribe me. You know, and if you even were to cook for me, I'm not one of those people that like all the cow meat. I just want to have my leg kamwe in the food, my leg bone, and I'm happy. So my lifestyle is cheap and easy. And you can see I really want to work to focus. Why? You see Simeon Freeman, but you don't see the story. I want to, the reason why I'm putting my foot forward for the presidency is to influence the outcome that I envisage. I see a lot of opportunities in our country, and I want to ensure that the young men, young women that are coming up don't endure some of the challenges that I had to go through in a very rich country. So specific to your question, it's easier to liquidate equity, or you can do a trust and move that away. But the good news is I already have people that have the capacity and know-how, and they are actually running these businesses adequately well. Besides my own case, there are very great people, very wonderful Liberians that have been working with us for a very long time, and they're very, very good at what they do. So when I become president, I'll be focused on being president of Liberia.
Real quick, we got a caller here. Your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Nyenwolo. I'm calling from Maryland. Mr. Freeman, I want to thank you for your eloquent discussion. And I, for one, I admire people who are successful. I admire people who get rich from working hard. You know, it seems to me like Liberian people want success, but they're afraid of people who are successful. I mean, genuinely successful. You know, I heard somebody say, "Oh, everybody talk the same beautiful thing. Everybody talk the same." And you know, it bothers me when I hear that from somebody who's supposed to be educated. Because the kind of beautiful thing you heard, who did you hear it from? What's the background? What research did you do that you consider that beautiful thing? Somebody listened to Boyka, who his people told you that he was an agriculturist. Where has he worked in agriculture? That you believe it? You know, and we gotta be serious about our country. I mean, even if it didn't work for you, let it work for your children. You know? Right. And I hear people talking about, yes, you got all this good idea, but you know the popularity. How did these people get popular? Why you don't take the platform and make the qualified people popular? Right. Because those people that you refer to say that they're not popular to, are listening to you to tell them these are the people who are the most qualified. Let's put our efforts behind them. And just like they got popular by people talking about them, if you start talking about the popular people, then they too will become popular. But if you sit down, it's like sitting down and seeing all the Zubos smoking opium. So instead of telling them it's wrong, you join them in small opium. Right. So how good are you? You know, I think it is time that people on these platforms take the bull by the horn and propagate the message to our people that these are the kind of people you want in government, people who got something to lose. Right. People who got a name to uphold. Not just any kind of job from anywhere. Look, poor people never elevated poor people out of poverty. It never happened. It's not going to happen. Because they don't know how to get rich. They're not going to help you to get rich. It will take somebody who knows how to do it to help you to do it. So this thing we talk about, the little brother called, Alex, he said, I heard your name, I thought I was Simone. Then he asked why you don't have Liberian content on DSTV. Because you don't watch Liberian content. You remember Simone? Why you didn't remember Liberian football? All of you wear European t-shirts. If those people speak, you don't know. He died. You know, and Luther got no support. You want somebody who is investing their money into business, and business is done for profit, to do what you like, that you don't support. Come on, we can be serious. So thank you, Mr. Primo, and I hope more people start looking for people who got genuine things to tell them, not illusion that other people want to tell you about somebody that got no proof. Thank you.
That's the legendary John Nyenwolo, a legendary Liberian who knows and says it as it is. The great Nyenwolo. Chief, we have had you for 3 hours. I'll tell you what, when I come to Liberia, I will come and pay my respect. What you have done for our folks, employing people. My dream has always been if I could just take one person off government payroll, if I can just hire one person as a security guard in my house or a cook and pay them constantly on time every month, I would have done my government a great favor. That is my pledge, to just take 1 or 2 people off government payroll. I would have done my government a great service than just praising them. It doesn't matter who is in power. If I can hire 1 or 2 people, put them on a payroll, and pay them on the first of every month consistently, something that the government can do, I would have done myself a great service. Your closing, your parting comments, sir. I know it's too late now. It's time for you to take your rest.
I just want to thank you guys for the time. It was a great interaction. Thanks to the audience. Thanks to the callers. Thanks to Mr. Nyenwolo. He says it as it is, and I'm very happy. And we look forward to working with you. Liberia is all we got. Even if we become second citizens in other countries, we need to make sure that the land of our nativity is not abandoned and or deserted. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Mr. Gayman. And when you come to Liberia, we'll sit and eat some Dopoh together. Don't worry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I just want to say goodbye, Mr. Nagbe. Don't worry. I will be headed to Sino very soon. The representative from Sino. Are you from Sino or are you from Grand Crew?
You're from Barobo.
I'm from Maryland.
Oh, you're from Maryland.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But no, I'm not going. I'm planning to go to Sino with one of the current representatives from there very soon.
But listen, it has been really very fascinating and honored to have you. I'm with the CMC now. You know.
So do you think the man justify himself so they can move over to his party? You're gonna abandon CMC?
No, man, please.
Man, you remember the picking it? I the cause trouble in it, and we just come there. I want to let us trouble.
Hopefully, somehow we'll find a way to come together in the grand collaboration. But thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
But yeah.
So Mr. Anthony, thank you, and Mr. Ture.
Yes,
thank you so much. Are you with the Ture people that are part of the SDA church? Or your Ture is different?
My grandfather was the one who pretty much ran the wastewater diamond mine. He was Ture. Yes, my grandfather is from. But we have our place on Gerda Street, so Ture from Gerda Street. But we are everywhere. So yeah. But I was trying to say, I'll reach out to you. Like you can see on the screen, I have a podcast that I do is pre-recorded. I'll reach out to you. I want to talk more in depth. Like I have some questions I want to ask you more in depth, but obviously this is
no problem.
So we can talk more about that as well.
No problem.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, Mr. Gayman, thank you, and you guys have a good night. I'm signing off now. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Nice having you.
Okay, guys, let's do 2 minutes each of our post analysis. Let me start with Anthony because he has to go. It's getting late over there. Anthony, your thought on the discussion we just had, and what do you think?
Thank you, Mr. Gayman. I think the show was fascinating. It was interesting, and I mean, Mr. Simeon Freeman, who happens to be one of Liberia's top businessmen. You've said a lot, how he's going to change Liberia, how he's going to take Liberia from being, a country that has a static economy to a country that will have an economy that keeps growing. I mean, he said too many beautiful things, but like I said to him, when President Buhari was campaigning, he said in his first 100 days, cars were not going to get stuck in mud. When George Weah was being inaugurated as president, he said his top priority was going to be the fight against drug. And I mean, all those promises you saw what I resorted to. And I just sort of bring that up to his concern that the same thing he's saying, other people have said the same thing. When they came, the very promises they made, I mean, it was not somehow fulfilled. The Liberian people did not feel the impact. And so, but one thing I wanted to know from him, but that'll be another time, is why, if the MPC, is not a factor in the 2029 election, what would have been or what would be his option for the runoff election, should there be any in 2029? But that's going to be a question for another day. But Mr. Gayman, the show has been very nice, and thank you so much. It's actually August 8th in Liberia. That means it's 12 o'clock already.
Yeah. Toure, yeah, 1 minute. This man got to go.
Yes, Mr. Freeman, the only problem I had with Mr. Freeman was the mansion thing.
That mansion. Don't bring down the mansion.
So, yeah,
don't still listening. Don't mess with that mansion.
Yeah, don't mess with that mansion, man. Yeah, don't try that one with it. But but Liberia needs successful people, and I think me and Mr. Nagbe had a conversation about that before. I'm like, nah, I was very I'm very much against that idea. Thankfully, he is not a presidential goal. Just go and swing on market one, just get re-raised. It takes process. So it's a good thing. My marshal is still safe. But he's a smart man. He's a smart man. When I say Basapo smart, I don't believe it. They made a smart man. He has what it takes. But I think that the Mr. Freeman and Mr. Cummins and Alex of Ability, they are all business-oriented people. These are people that can who make a very. I'm not worried about Mr. President Buhari. I think I want President Buhari to succeed. I think he can finish what he started and let him move. But by the end of the day, by the time he's out of there, what do you have? And I'm willing to support any political party or candidate who is Liberia focused, want to change the trajectory. I'm an entrepreneur in Liberia. I want a president that would prioritize businesses, and stuff like that. So I think it's a great thing. People are listening, people are watching. The whole thing he said about the DSTV content and Liberian content not being up to par, that's true. I lived through that era. I got pictures to do. I worked on one of the biggest Liberian movie ever, movie or content like that was built like Erica Johnny Mado. I worked on that project, and I know what it takes to do certain things. Even Netflix here, there are other content that are now on Netflix because they don't reach the criteria. So I think we Liberians have to come back on the drawing board and define. What is the criteria that they're looking for? What's the frame per second do they want our video to be? How do they want our audio quality? How do they want our sound to be? Get those things, go back, do something, and present it to them. Because anybody would refuse it. They're a content. And one thing we shouldn't forget, what's his name? Mr. Freeman is a franchise holder of DSTV. He's not the owner of DSTV. You cannot come and say, "Oh, I want this here," right? He's a franchise holder. So that means if you bought a franchise today from McDonald's, yeah, you pay your money, what I say, but you gotta go per McDonald's standard. Usually we can just change one day. You say, "Oh, because you're McDonald's owner now, so he's gonna start selling and maybe cater with it." No, you gotta go by what McDonald's have on the menu, right? So I think that was good of him. I will not speak no evil of that. He was right. We have to go off the pot. Other than that, thanks. Great show. I respect every one of you here. I appreciate Anthony. Break. I don't ask for your age here. I'll ask for your impact. But you're very smart. You remind me a lot of myself when I was on the radio in Liberia, and keep it up, man. Just keep it up.
I did it, man, with Pewee. He said, I was good in football, my man. I'm telling you.
No,
I said,
listen to it. Is it Anthony very smart? Then he says Anthony reminded of himself.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but I'm trying to listen. I'm a politician.
Yeah. I mean, you're smart. Let's just agree you're smart.
Yeah.
Let me. But listen, my closing will be this.
Pewee said, man, I was good in football. Man, yeah. If only we had, man, I want to be generous. I said, my man, let people hear, man. That in 4 years you were smart. That in 4 years you were playing football. You were good. Yeah, go ahead. Now go ahead.
My closing will be this. Look, I like the guy. I like Alice Cummings. I like Musa Ability. I think what sets them apart is methodology, and I hope somehow we'll all come together in the future. And I think Liberia cannot lose with these, great ideas coming together. So best of luck to him. Best of luck to Alice Cummings. Best of luck to Musa Ability. I think there'll be a great coming together. Finally, my final closing will be to say hello to Theola Gibson because she's here again. That's all I gotta say.
Listen, can you imagine, guys? 1 minute. Can you imagine a government, right, where you have Cummings, you have Musa Ability, you have Simeon Freeman in one government? It doesn't matter at what level. Okay, they all came together and said, okay, Cummings, if you win. Since I know business, let me just develop our agriculture sector, right? We give it to Samuel Freeman, say, you take this and run with it because that is your area, or you can do this. Musa Ability, please take commerce or this and do what you have to do to make it good. And Cummings, you take us on the international, whatever it is, y'all get together and say, you know what, we have to live this, we got the capabilities and the know-how. 4 of us can live this country on 4 pillars. Can you imagine what that would be? But when one person wins, then everybody else sits back.
I'm saying it on this platform today. I'm saying if Cummings, because I know Joshua would not go to be a vice president, none of them. But if they all came out to coming on a ticket, I'm saying it today. That'll be the first time I ever voted in Liberia history. I'll go for them.
All that diamond you swallow from Wiswa.
My grandpa, man, crying.
I know all the trade. Your grandfather swallow all the diamond and they come over here.
when Mr. Cummings are talking already, I say, oh man, you know my grandpa's story? What's up with you?
Well, listen, guys, this man got to go. Let's do this again on Monday, guys. Thank you very much, Mr. Turi. You bring a lot to the table. Anthony, man, listen, we want to do the best we can that you get home before 1 o'clock. So you can, because Monroe is not, I don't want to say anything, but it's not good for a young man who don't have a car to be on motorbike 1 o'clock in the morning.
You see you buy the on car.
Yeah, I see, man. That diamond game.
You see, you see, buy the on car.
Yeah, but this is that diamond. You guys just go over and get you one piece if you do. Okay, guys, let's do this tomorrow.
All right.
Victor, call me. I got something to discuss with you real quick. Okay, guys. Thank you.
See ya.
You spoke about reconciliation. Does that mean that you're going to reach out to your friends like Thomas Fala, Sir Joseph, and the rest of other people that left your party?
Well, reconciliation doesn't mean that you're going to go look for individual. Reconciliation means that we must understand that we all can live together, we can work together in our party. So reconciliation in our party, it got nothing to do with other people's party. Those that we're reconciling is the people that have issues in our party. Because if we reconcile our own party, then we can foster reconciliation somewhere else.
Well, today you end your convention here in the USA. What's your impression so far?
What
And when she voted and came back to me, I thank God I was born an American. Today I saw 9 jurors sitting under my voice, 15 jurors sitting under my voice, 9 of them returning a verdict of not guilty against a powerful government that wanted to be destroyed. That day, I thank God I was born an American. Thank you. So, John Menton.
So you want to bring war crime code? Bring your damn war crime code. Don't be speaking your stinking about every day in this thing. Thank you.
No, but the war crime code is not intended just for you.
But the other thing is mine. The other thing is for me. Bring it. I know it's not coming. There's not a way to bring war crime code. You go through processes, legal processes. You don't talk about things on the floor when you see me. When you see me. Every time they don't see me, you must talk. Then when you talk, I'm just joking. Say you're joking, you think I'm quiet because I'm a preacher.
So, folks, want to say thanks for watching the closing argument. It has been a pleasant edition of the show. Catch us up on Monday by the same time, 9 o'clock p.m. in Liberia and 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we come on this platform to discuss lengthy and intriguing Liberian conversation that matter most to our country's growth and development. My name is Anthony Dahn. We've been here with the MPC political leader who wants to be president of Liberia, Simon Freeman. He's a top business tycoon, and he says he wants to make Liberia's economy a business economy, to making sure he attracts foreign investors and make the country run smoothly on a path that will make Liberians feel the impact. Join us tomorrow, on Monday, for another intriguing edition where we're going to have possibly another guest to run you through the show, and with, intellectual panelists where the IQ is so high. Thanks for following, and bye-bye.